мира свет живой. Разум народа, гордость народа, знамя земли трудовой. Разум народа, гордость народа, знамя земли трудовой. Родина наша, слава столетий, клятвой великой клянемся тебе. Мир от войны отстоять на планете, партия нас окрыляет в борьбе. Партия, народ всегда с тобой. Партия, ты мира свет живой. Разум народа, гордость народа, знамя земли трудовой. Разум народа, гордость народа, знамя земли трудовой. Пусть патриоты, пусть год от года дружба советских народов растет. Свято мы любим отчизну свободы, партия нас к коммунизму ведет. Партия, народ всегда с тобой. Партия, ты мира свет живой. Разум народа, гордость народа, знамя земли трудовой. Партия, народ всегда с тобой. Партия, ты мира свет живой. Разум народа, гордость народа, знамя земли трудовой.
Now, lucha, 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 lucha. Hi.
I don't have a mask. My face. Oh, now they're honking. They're honking horns outside.
Oh, they're honking horns outside now, are they?
The rapture has arrived 5 minutes late.
Oh, well, we know people were clapping in the chat. A chat clap. This looks too much like a sex thing. I got to take it off. I just see what it looks like. Oh no, I've tied the. Oh no. I thought I did actually think I'd sealed myself in via the knot. But I haven't sealed myself in. Hello, everybody. How are you? Oh, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. How are you, Duncan? How are you?
I'm good. Why not?
Why not? Hey, Duncan, what's going on? You okay? Great. This is the tone now. This is the new
norm.
The new normal. The new normal. Yeah. Hi, I'm New Norm. So, look, welcome to the stream. We're doing what is known in France and perhaps in Jean-Claude Van Damme's native Belgium as hard tage. And then that's a true thing that is true that I didn't make up. I just have a quick appeal, actually, because I don't know if something's happened, Duncan. I don't know if I dreamt it, so can you just indulge me for a moment?
Of course.
We have a user called RST, I think RST 100. If you're in the room, RST, please say. RST 100 has submitted a poster for Ghost Pit featuring you.
Ah.
And I can't find it. Like, I cannot find it anywhere. I looked through all my social. I had a bit of a day today, so I looked through all my social, and I was like, "Cool, where's the thing?" And I can't find it. I don't know where it is, and I don't know if I dreamt it or not.
It's in the email.
I looked in the email. I looked in Facebook, to Twitter. I looked in my personal Instagram. I looked at my personal Twitter. I can't find it. So RST100, if you did do that, please let me know where it is so I go get it because it was great. And if you didn't, I'm really sorry for insinuating you into my dreams, which must be probably quite a weird thing to experience.
Get out of my dreams and into my GMs.
My GMs! Also, our YouTube view account that usually resides in the top left is not working. I don't know why. I've just noticed. Doesn't matter.
Your what? The what's not working?
The view account or the chat window. Oh,
I can see 99 watching now.
Yes, I mean on the stream. There's normally a little button. In fact, all of our stuff from Streamlabs is down. The little chat window's down. That probably means the super chat thing is down as well. I'm very sorry about that. I didn't know what's happened.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit. I'm not sure
I
can
like
on the stream. But there you go. As we usually just say, you can leave super chats if you like, and that's gratefully received. But we've set up a PayPal. What is that? I can never point in the right direction. It was that way. And actually, no, it's down there in the description. You can pay us through PayPal because if you do it for super chat, YouTube keep 33.3%. And that sucks.
Third. Yeah. Cheeky bastard.
That sucks.
This son of a bitch.
I'm referring everybody to the account that's normally there. But it ain't there. Where's it gone? Where is it? No, it doesn't work. Oh, there you go. 99 problems but a bitch ain't one. 99 people in the room at the moment. 99 people in the room. Welcome aboard.
I've got 103. We always seem to. I'm looking at it, so I keep it open as. I mean, I'm in the Val Verde account, but I'm looking at it from just the like as a viewer would see it.
Oh, as a viewer would see it. Okay.
So I think I get a slightly more updated version.
Oh, maybe. Oh well. There's more than 100 now. There's more than 100. Ha 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 ha! How exciting! Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. We love you. We love you very much.
We love you. Yes, welcome. I don't know what this was. He's sort of Zoidberg meets the human centipede. I don't know.
It's yours. It's yours. That's original content.
Let's go with it.
Duncan Casey's original content.
Yeah.
Billy Mount was asking about the sequel to this with Scott Adkins, which I've not seen.
Nor have I.
No, that's interesting because I think one of the things for me about this is that it's John Woo. I'm more into this for John Woo than Van Damme, whereas Scott Adkins is a huge Van Damme fan, isn't he? He's a big Van Damme fan.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. But they work together and stuff, which I imagine he was very, it must be very edifying for him. He must have loved that.
I mean, second only to working with me, I think.
He did, I did see an interview from him on YouTube. He said, I once lynched Duncan Casey, and that was a career high.
I doubt he remembers my name, but
don't say
never
that.
mind.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Yeah.
So we got all kinds of familiar friends. I've seen Rachel Dunn, we got Andy McClure, Floyd Dillon, I Am Snorlax, of course, Ross Sanders, Ross, Dave Bobson, Billy Mount 2, the sequel to Billy Mount, Turtle Flipper, I Am Snorlax again, Phil Rob 1978, Obscure Entertainment, Carl Goddard, hey Carl, Professional Moron. Colin McLean, Alex Naum, who I think I got that wrong before. Castro, Omar, of course. Yeah, I had a brief interaction with Omar in the chat earlier. Irish Paul, it's Paul but from Ireland. Raw-headed, Steve Allen.
Top of the morning to you.
Irish Paul. John Doe, Ian B, Scully, Steve Allen. I might have said that before. Errol the Ponce. I'm doing my best to read all the names I can see.
Thetford Forest.
Is it Little Downers?
Spixworth.
Oh yeah, I often lament the fact that Longstanton Spice Museum isn't real, because Longstanton. Did you used to live in Longstanton or no? Or close by?
Yes. Sorry, of course I did. Yes.
Longstanton's lamentably close for a place that doesn't exist. Because there's a website that used to sell Longstanton Spice Museum merch. It's kind of great.
Oh, okay. Is there not one?
No, it's an absolute fabrication. It is not. It's not real. So. Yeah, I'm afraid.
Very good.
I'm afraid not. So, oh shit! I'm going to dim the intro music because I should have done that ages ago. Because it's probably going to get quite annoying if I just let that roll. We can't hear it. That's why it was allowed to run for so long. Hope it allowed for a kind of funky, a sort of funky vibe. But there you go. Rachel Dunn laments not having a witty username. Well, not do we. Just use our names. No. A lot of people just use their names. You're one of those people. I've seen certain usernames that you have, and I won't give any games away. But like you and other people are able to use really obvious configurations of their own name for a username. And your name isn't like completely crazy and wacky, but mine is extra normal. So I can't. Anything you try to do is already claimed. If you want to go Xbox or email or whatever, someone's already used it. Always, because you might as well be like, I'm fairly close to like Dave Smith. You know what I mean? Richard Jackson.
Yeah.
It's not very exotic. You know what I mean?
I reached out years ago. I found all the people on Facebook. I mean, we're talking about 11 years ago. In a drunken state, I found all the people called Casey Duncan on Facebook, which was predominantly, I think,
That's an amazing night.
US-based women. And I think I'm still friends with some of them on my Facebook, although obviously some have now been married, so they're not called that anymore, so I couldn't find them.
Or did you just randomly friend them for a jolly?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, this is back in the sort of early days of Facebook, really. But, and then I'm friends. I followed a bunch of people called Duncan Casey on, well, 2 people or 3 people called Duncan Casey on Twitter, one of whom is an Ulster Union rugby star or whatever, who's a very nice chap. We DM each other every now and again, and he's a lovely bloke, but he and I jostle for like who shows up in Google search results and stuff. But anyway, it's a boring story.
I've got there's a Richard Jackson who is a writer on counter-terrorism, and he's got a book about terror threats that you can find. There's Richard Jackson from QVC, which has been discussed many times around these parts.
His garden,
Richard Jackson's garden, and every 6 months someone photographs their DVR on Facebook and goes, "It's you." Okay, yeah.
You've never seen this before, I guarantee.
Yeah. But hey, it's I get a kick out of it. It's a laugh, so whatever. There used to be a surveyor and a solicitor in Cambridge called Richard Jackson. That's what I mean. It's this outrageously normal name. Whereas my brothers both got cool Gaelic names. I just got given the boring English one.
Did you just have a flyover from the Royal?
There is a flyover happening tonight. Yeah, there's a flyover in this area, and it is from. I think it's from Duxford rather than Marshalls. For there are 2 airports local to us, or at least me. So you go. Peter Dennison has asked to turn down the music. He asked that. I didn't notice that, but I did do it, Peter. Sorry, because it was only supposed to run for 3 minutes, but I just got so engaged in talk about names. See, my thing is Jack Richardson, because yours is Casey Duncan. Jack Richardson. I always thought if I had to go on the lam, I'd love to be Jack Richardson because it's a brilliantly obvious pseudonym. It's like a blatantly obvious route to go down. It's just like, Jack Richardson. I'll never figure that out.
Yeah. What was it? The John Jackson. That was the Family Guy thing, wasn't it? When they were like announcing the performers at this year's Grammys. It's like John Jackson, Jack Johnson, Chad Chadwickson. It's just like all these people with reconfigured names.
I love that though. I love that. Yeah, I like the idea of someone going on the lam and just using a really obvious pseudonym. Jack Richardson or Casey Duncan or whatever. Those of us who are blessed with a reversible surname.
Yes, I'm less so. But there we are. There we go.
Yeah, I remember some fucking guy on YouTube just went, "Here's Richard Johnson. His name's Dick Johnson. Like it means Dick twice." And it's like, well, it would if my surname was Johnson, which it isn't, and it's even written. I wouldn't mind. I like a dick joke as much as the next person, but when it's written on the screen, you don't really get a free pass.
I have this thing. There are certain people in the world who are incapable of spelling names correctly. Certain members of my family, for example, have only recently started spelling my wife's name properly, despite being faced with her name in that very email and writing. You know what I mean? And I've got someone I'm working with at the moment who keeps spelling my name Duncun, despite the fact Duncan. Despite the fact that like my name is all over everything. It's in my email signature. It's in the email that it will say it came from. It's in the work online work thing we use. It's like it's everywhere. So I don't understand how it's like. And I keep wanting to say it, but I'm just like, it's so painfully obvious. It's right in front of you. I don't get it.
There are what I mean. That's not acceptable. Duncan. It's fucking dunk. Like I mean. You're much like my friend Kirsty. Your wife enjoys. I won't say her name, but she enjoys a non-standard spelling of the name. Let's say
yes,
a non-standard issue spelling. So I can kind of forgive that, you know. But when it's like Duncan, it's like no. And one girl I went to Army Cadets with years ago, she had to write down people's names, and obviously people have called me Jackson since forever. Like people usually go by my surname for whatever reason. And when she was writing this list. She spelled. I've said this before, but fuck it. Jaction. So like action with the J in front of it, like Jackson, which I do sort of like. But it's like, what fucking rock did you come out of under? Like to not know how to spell that. I know that's a bit mean, but yeah.
I've had people spell my surname like KNC, like they thought it's KC.
What, like as in and the Sunshine Band?
Yeah, basically, nice. And it's like. I'm like, where did you get that from? Because like, have you never met someone? Have you never come across that name before? You never, like, it's weird. I don't understand how you can sort of, you know.
Well, sorry, go on. Please continue.
No. I was going to say the gentleman who keeps me spelling my name is he's not from the UK. Let's put it that way. So I understand why he would get it wrong. In the first instance, if he was just told my name over the phone and then had to write me an email, that's one thing. Although he'd have been given my email address, which has my first name in it, but that's besides the point. So I give him a free pass on that. But for a few months now, he has been misspelling my name. So it gets to the point where you're like, I think you're doing this deliberately. I just think you are. You know, there's no. But anyway. Whatever. Well,
there you go. Your cousin just said hi. Sorry, the deadly TJ there.
Hey Tom.
He's firmly like in a Fast and Furious film. Oh, I watched Hobbs and Shaw at the weekend. Oh my. Have you seen Hobbs and Shaw?
Of course I have. We rented it because
I think it might be the best film I've ever seen in my life.
It's batshit insane, isn't it?
It's absolutely. Also, as well, that was my first ever Fast and Furious because I've never watched one.
Oh, was it? Wow,
so I realised that's kind of non-standard again, but like fucking hell, like
well,
Jesus.
It's pretty much. I mean, it is and it isn't. Like it's. I mean that's the tone they're going for throughout most of the more recent ones.
Right.
So.
Okay.
You know.
It was
fun.
It was crazy. It's directed by one of the John Wick director who split off and did Legally Blonde, Atomic Blonde, and this, and Deadpool 2. So it's very competently directed. It's like I know what's happened to Fast and Furious movies. I'm not completely oblivious, but just to watch it with my own eyes, is going like, this is that street racing thing, and now it's like the whole bit when they go to. They go to The Rock's home and they get all the traditional like weapons and stuff. Like it's
become a heist thing. I mean, it always was. Like they always involved a certain amount of like heist stuff, but it very heavily has lent into that for the last like 6 films. Like it's just been that. It's not really been about street racing. But I like it. It's fun. It's stupid. It's turn your brain off stuff. It's ludicrous. You're not supposed to.
It was definitely inoffensive. It was inoffensive, but it was so like thunderously dumb. It was like, I can't help but love this. This is kind of amazing. And also, like, it's got a cyborg in it. It's just this series has gone so nuts. I love it. I love it so much. I just feel like I watched the best one, and there's no point watching any of the other ones.
No, you like the other ones. The other ones are pretty dumb as well, in a lovable way, like in a very lovable way.
Right.
And you don't have to be into cars to like them. That's the great thing, is that you can get that out of them, but they're not really about the cars anymore. Like I would start. I mean, you could start with the first one. The first and second, first 1, 2, and 3, you'd probably find a bit dull now. But 4's where it starts to get into the more kind of.
4's the beginning of the current era, and that's like when Justin Lin was doing them, isn't it? That's when he.
Yeah, he kind of came in then and made it a bit more about the heist thing, but it still had one foot in the other stuff. And then 5 goes. That's when The Rock started, and it goes full tilt, batshit in Brazil, and then it's like.
Did they
6, 7,
drive
8.
off the Burj Khalifa? Did they do stunts at the Burj Khalifa, or have I made that up?
They did. I don't think it was the Burj Khalifa. It was the other one. It's the one where there's like 3 towers in a row, and they basically smash a car through all the windows and all the towers and jump between. It's so batshit. That's in the 7th one, because that was Paul Walker's last one that they had to make up stuff. That's on Netflix.
Oh yes, of course,
actually.
of course. Yeah, the whole tragic kind of rebuilding of Paul Walker. Sure.
So that one's on Netflix, so you can check that one out.
I thought it was amazing for probably the wrong reasons, but I thought it was amazing, and I watched.
No,
it.
they're all they're the reasons you're supposed to.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sweet as well. It was very very, very bloodless. It's properly PG-13 action, right? Because it's supposed to. So like people are getting shot and stuff, and like there's no blood. And it's like, but it's kind of aimed at teenagers, and it's kind of sweet. Michael Bay managed to make the Transformers movies kind of like grubby and gross and nasty and sort of mean, whereas it never feels mean, you know.
Oh no, it's not. It's not mean spirited at all. And that, I think you're right. I think that's the difference. I think that's what stands them out, is that they've got that kind of heart and kind of purity to them, even though they're batshit. And it's just The Rock going like, I mean, and it's got, I of course forget it's got Ryan Reynolds in it.
Yes.
Really weird.
Like, being very Ryan Reynoldsy. I think he's just basically doing Deadpool, but a CIA guy, isn't he? Like, it's kind of because there's that great like final scene, the end credit scene. I thought that was great. I had quite a lot of daiquiri. Ivan went and made amazing daiquiris. We're having a lovely sort of gay dad's night in. He made like these daiquiris, so I was very much having a drank with it.
Very good.
I thought it was brilliant. I wouldn't watch it again or anything, but Cliff Curtis turned up towards the end as well.
Of course,
nice.
yeah.
Cliff Curtis, who's played every ethnicity on the planet, like at least once.
He seems
to have played, so that's kind of crazy. But I always like to see Cliff Curtis like in stuff, so that's cool too. So there you go. I enjoyed Hobbs and Shaw, despite what some may think.
Sounds like a shoemaker, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Go and get a key cut at Hobbs and Shaw.
And I mean, it is fun. It's, The Rock and Jason Statham is always sort of a fun pairing.
Also, the number of scenes took place in the office across the road from my ex-girlfriend's office.
Oh, really?
Right down at Liverpool Street. Yeah, it's like like they're going out of the building and shit. And I used to go and like meet her for lunch, like at the reception. I think some of it might have even been in her building as well, because she worked right down in the city.
They've got a real boner for London with that series, because that kind of started with the 6th one. There was a lot done in London, and I don't think it's even the 7th, but the 8th is, I think, and this is.
Am I right in thinking that Luke, what's his name, Luke Thingabob, the English actor, he was in Fast and Furious as a bad guy, and then Jason Statham's his brother?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
I did, because I kind of knew that tangentially, and it's like the sister and Helen Mirren and him do not talk about their brother at all in this one. And there's even flashbacks to them being kids and stuff, and at no point is there kind of like, well, your brother was a bad guy or any of that. So
no, well, I mean, because Jason Statham's character was the bad guy in the 7th one, and
that's the one with Kurt Russell in it as well, right? Like, because he comes to get revenge for. I'm going to call him Luke Dracula because I've forgotten his name. He comes to get revenge for Luke Dracula's death. But it turns out through the weird continuity of Fast and Furious that Jason Statham killed Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, well, because that goes. So it's a weird continuity. It goes 1, 2, and then 3. I think is so. It goes 1, 2, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, or 4, 5, then 3, then 6, then 7, or whichever way around it is. But 3 is like a prequel to one of the later. It's weird how they worked that out. I think it's
because
basically
they wanted
because
to bring Tokyo Drift back, didn't they? I don't know. His
well,
name, so I'm just
no.
gonna call him Tokyo
It's
Drift.
because I think it's basically because Vin Diesel would only do a cameo at the end of that, but it meant that.
Oh no! When I say Tokyo Drift, I mean the Japanese guy. I don't know his name. Han. Okay, they wanted to bring the whole team back, so they did a kind of flashback thing. Luke Evans, Luke Dracula, Luke Evans,
Luke Dracula.
Have you seen Dracula Untold?
No.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah. Well, it's one of those funny things because it's that stupid reboot of Universal failed to reboot their franchise time and time and time again.
Yeah.
They have this amazingly sort of hubristic end credit sequence that me and Ivan reference all the time. The whole film's over, it's all done, and then after credits, Luke Dracula is in the market in modern day London. It's like London at a market, and Charles Dance, who definitely died and was the bad guy, Luke Dracula's just walking around, buying onions or whatever, and then Charles Dance kind of comes out and goes, "Let the games begin," and then it cuts to end credits, or cuts to black, and it's like, what? And then they never went anywhere with it, which is amazing.
That's the Frank Langella, like, I'll be back thing.
Well, Frank apparently he's very proud of his Skeletor stuff, but good for him because it's a performance that film doesn't deserve, frankly. But there you go. I just need to quick from paid pal. Luke Mega has sent £5. Always love the content, guys. I hope you're keeping safe and sane. Been following you ever since you left the other place. Content always manages to be varied and hysterical. Duncan, can you do Ken Bruce announcing that... This is... Wow, okay. Duncan, can you do Ken Bruce announcing that Johnny Depp has been cast as Spotty in Zack Snyder's gritty reboot crossover Super Ted vs. Banana Man?
What? Where is that? Because I'm going to need to read that.
Yeah, let me break it down. I'll break it down to bullet points for you. It's in the Gmail. So you're Ken Bruce. Zack Snyder has a new film. Johnny Depp has been cast as Spotty in Super Ted vs. Banana Man.
Oh, God.
That is a lot to remember. It's in the Gmail.
That's what I mean. Okay, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to go in the Gmail so that I can just riff.
We're going to have to send. We're going to have Duncan's been dispatched.
I can't learn lines.
We've got another one from James Harris, which I will read once we've done this, and then we'll crack on with the film. Slight delay to the film. Just want to get the PayPal donations done.
Where is it? I'm not seeing it in the Gmail.
It's in the Val Verde Gmail. You've got money.
That's from James Harris, though.
Yeah, there's one before. I think it's turned it into a thread. It's turned it into a thread for some reason.
My apologies. Lawrence Benja. Right, okay. Ken Bruce. I have to kind of get my Ken Bruce on. BBC Radio 2. Ken Bruce, we'll be talking with what's his name? Zack Snyder about his gritty crossover reboot Super Ted vs. Banana Man, about the surprise casting of Johnny Depp and Spotty right after Popmaster.
I didn't. That's amazing. I had no concept of how good that was going to be till I heard it. I think
it's the Doobie Brothers with What a Fool to Believe. What's the other one?
Ken
That
Bruce,
was
man.
Paul and Oates with Your Kiss. It's on
It's such an excellent niche impression.
It's that kind of...
It's a little bit. It's sort of like a slightly Muppet, because I know obviously Scottish and Irish, but it's a little bit like Wogan, because Wogan.
Oh yeah, no.
But Wogan was had better enunciation, I suppose. I don't know.
I mean, it was much more kind of It wasn't. It's not. It's been so long, obviously, since he did his radio show now, but it's BBC Radio 2. It was all that sort of, whereas Ken Bruce is more kind of...
It's a bit sort of down there more, isn't it?
Then balls. Well, he's, in a way, it's like Jeff Goldblum. He can't stop filling silence with noise, so it's that kind of... it's that sort of... in my head, but I know he's not, because he's a consummate professional radio DJ. He's been doing it for a long time.
Radio DJ.
Indeed. What was
well,
okay?
a couple
So
of things.
was that satisfactory?
I thought that was wonderful. We're going to have to crack
Right.
through some stuff because we're late for the
Right.
movie, but it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
does it, massively? Sean Danaher gave £4.99. He says, "Evening, lads, let the games begin," which pleases me immeasurably. Caspian S says, "Please don't get started on Skeletor and Skellingtons again," and gave £5 because I very nearly died when the Skellington chat was going on. Did you want to read James Harris's one from the Gmail? Or
James Harris says. James Harris writes in and he says, "Richard, which would you rather sit through, a full version of Eric Stoltz's Back to the Future or Van Damme's Predator?"
the Eric
That
Stoltz
makes
Back
sense.
to the Future. Yeah, the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future holds far more mystery for me because ultimately Van Damme would just be a guy in the costume, and it's a really shit costume. Whereas Eric Stoltz, that's a whole performance. Like I think
even if we gave him benefit of the doubt and said it was Van Damme in the Kevin Peter Hall costume, like the classic costume we all know and love, I still think I'd still go for the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I'd still do that. He also says, "Duncan, have you been listening to much music during the lockdown? And do you have any recommendations to check out? Any good? I've gone terrible."
Old tell.
Hotel, motel. What do you do today?
If the girl starts acting up, I can't do it. I know all the words to that, but I can't do the voice. It's a modern day
And I have
tragedy.
the opposite problem because I've run out of the word.
Between
Anyway,
us.
have I been listening to much music? Yeah, I mean, yes. In fact, okay, here's a top tip. I do listen to a lot of music. I like to watch a lot of live bands. Sometimes I'll have them on when I'm working, depending on whether or not I need to be able to hear stuff as I'm working. I found and have binge watched to the point that I've had to ban myself from watching them because it became like oral crack cocaine. An Australian cover band called the Hindley Street Country Club. I think it's that Hindley Street Country Club. They're absolutely incredible. If you're into music, go check them out. They do amazing covers of everything. They have their sound engineer game is like insanely good. And they're basically like a bunch of middle-aged dads sitting in a recording studio or sometimes out like on stage. They've had big grand concerts, so I think they're quite well known where they are anyway. And they're just freaking awesome. But I've been absolutely to the point where I wake up and the songs are still their versions of the songs are still going on in my head. I had to stop.
You should send me some links. That sounds fun. I'll be able to check it out.
It's all old. I mean, it's all fairly like. Eclectic stuff, it's Hall and Oates. It's Ken Bruce stuff.
Ken Bruce. Ken Bruce did music. No, very quickly. Caspian S gave another £5. Thank you, and he astutely says the lighting, background, and clothing choices today make this look like a Skype call between Satan and God.
God wears pink or coral.
Coral, and Satan's having a day off in like a off-brand John Wick universe, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm assuming he meant it that way around. Of course, he may have meant.
Yeah, I think the bald dude with the ginger beard is usually Satan.
Well, I didn't like to.
I didn't assume. I would dream assume. Right, Joe Mitchell's excited to watch Hard Target. I hasn't watched it in a while. John Woo's first American movie.
I should just say as well, like we got a lot of confusion from there were a worrying number of people when we put this up to vote in Patreon. It was between I had a thing of like I'm going to make it about hard. It's going to be a hard week, so it was good. But it's very hard to come up with films that are sort of in the lexicon that start with hard or have hard in the title that aren't Die Hard or Hard Boiled, which we've exempt for obvious reasons. So it was Hard Target, Hard to Kill, which would have been my preference because that's just funny, and then Hard Day's Night, which.
Well,
I'm sure
it
Ellie
was
would
people who hadn't heard of any of them. That really fair play to you, no judgment. But some people I haven't heard of any of those, and it's like you haven't heard of any of them, really. That's crazy.
No, I'm judging. You haven't heard of Hard Target, for fuck's sake.
I'm judging. Why is Hard Boiled exempt at the moment?
Well, because we were going to do it as just an episode, weren't we? So I was like, well, let's not do it.
That was it. Yeah, okay.
Because I need to watch it as well. I haven't seen it yet. So.
Fucking great.
Great. And then Die Hard, obviously, we've kind of done that to death.
Rather a lot. Yeah, we have rather a lot. Well, will we crack on then?
Indeed.
Duncan, for purposes of the way we have synchronised ourselves today, could you just get your copy to 4 seconds in?
I shall try.
Everybody at home, ignore that. You start from the beginning, but we need to go from 4 seconds in because of reasons owing to synchronisation. And then, so yeah, it's on Amazon for £3 odd. You can get it on YouTube for kind of £2.50 if you want to join in. You might have it at home. It's Van Damme, John Woo, and Sam Raimi and Lance Henriksen, which is a deeply weird mix-up of people. Okay, so are you ready, Duncan?
I am.
Right, so guys, we're going to start in 10 seconds, let's say, and we're going to go on go. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, got to turn the sound down. Don't want to copyright strike. Got it. Shit.
Cancelled.
Yeah. Well, Vote Saxon 07 had his previous channel deleted through copyright shit and had to start YouTubing from scratch, which is a completely horrifying thought. Like, what the fuck?
Dan says, have you watched Midnight Run yet? Have you?
No, I haven't. No. Frank Island's here. Frank Island says, when will you guys go ape? I have secured the services of Brad Watson, and I'm going to try and get him to do some going ape with me, finally. Because that's been watching Planet of the Apes. Not the popular tourist attraction Go Ape where you do kind of ropes.
I was going to say, you're going to go hang out in the woods. I don't think you're allowed to do it.
I have done Go Ape though, and it's brilliant. But no, referring of course to 20th Century Fox's popular ape series.
Very good. Yes, very good.
Yeah. Is that a Casio, Duncan? Says TM2YC.
What is what a Casio?
Your watch.
Where?
On your wrist.
Oh, mine? No.
What did you think he meant? On your head?
I was like, no, because I thought he meant on the film.
Oh,
no, like, where is it?
No.
No, it's not a Casio. No. It's another brand you may have heard of.
Okay.
With a crown.
A crown. So there's quite a lot of perspective shots in this. They use that device quite a bit. And it's like, this is a very good example of, because this is like so a John Woo film. It's achingly John Woo-ish. And like, in a lot of his Hong Kong stuff tends to be a bit more subdued, but there's stuff in this, like, where like...
Oh yeah, it's Robin Williams, I forgot. Sorry.
Oh, well...
Oh, come on now.
Well, that's the strange thing. It's got Lance Henriksen and Robin Williams in it, which we never saw again. I love the arrow thing. Is super Sam Raimi-ish. It's exactly like those shots from Evil Dead with the travelling kind of whenever anything flies through the air, and he uses really kind of mad action direction when there's nothing happening sometimes as well, which I really love. Like that shot's amazing. Like that when the bikes take off and it comes to the back of Arnold Vosloo's head and he turns around, that's amazing. The lighting here is amazing. Like everything, this like it's trashy, but this film it's fucking pure John Woo. Like, I love how John Woo seems to be unable to go 5 seconds without some geezer on a motorbike.
Yeah, I know. Which reached its ultimate kind of climax in Mission Impossible 2, didn't it? Where it was just like bike porn for ages. I mean, I have to say that the slow-mo is sometimes sort of borderline obnoxious because it's like, when they're trying to overly show how a kick hits the guy in the face and then the gun goes off over there, and it's like, it sometimes can be used so much that you lose track of where you are and what's going on. But I do think in this, it just about gets away with it.
Well, I think it's something just John Woo does well. I don't know. I always love that kind of visceral thing of just like showing, because I always felt, it's not always the case, but like he goes out of his way to show where every bullet went. And stuff like that. Like when it goes nuts, it's not so much. Like the fight later on in that like abandoned factory or whatever it is completely bananas. Like there's no way you're gonna. And it, again, like Hard Boiled isn't a million miles away from this. It leans more. The kind of Hong Kong ones are a bit more kind of film noir-y. They've got these kind of quite slightly sort of convoluted film noir kind of double cross plots, whereas this is like people hunting people. I mean, this is probably the best American John Woo film as far as I'm concerned. I never got on board with Face Off. I don't get it. I don't know why people love it so much.
I could go with that. I think Face Off was Face Off felt very much more because it had the sort of stars du jour of the, it had Travolta right as, in his second peak, in his Travolta-sance or whatever, if you will, the sort of post Pulp Fiction Travolta right at the top of what was probably quite another big arrogant streak. Maybe not. I mean, maybe not. I don't want to say that, but and then you've got Nicolas Cage at his absolute insane best. That was always going to be a rest. I think that's a much more kind of mainstream film of the time, whereas this sort of still has a bit more of a foot in the kind of indie type thing. They're like slightly more grungy, slightly more blood sporty, I guess, not having seen that film. But,
yeah, it's got what it does have. I think it. If you hire John Woo, you want to bring over that kind of Hong Kong sensibility, and I think this does really nicely hybridize the Hong Kong thing, because it looks and feels in so many places like a Hong Kong John Woo movie, but is it like in Baton Rouge? It's in like Louisiana, isn't it? And it's like Wilfred Brimley. They're supposed to be Cajuns and shit. Like it's got that super American flavour, but it has the style of kind of a Hong Kong sort of crime action movie. Whereas I think like Face Off is great and everything, but it's so glossy and it just feels like it's sort of got away with itself. I can't remember.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the style way overtakes the substance of that film, for sure.
I've got a personal kind of beef with that as well, because we did that in film studies in A-level in like the first year, and I was the only one who was like, I don't like this, it's not very good. And everyone in the class, including the teachers, loved it. And was kind of like, tell us why! And it was like the fucking Salem witch trials for about half an hour. It's like, dude, it just sucks. Leave me alone. So, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But stuff like, little touches like the dog tag on the arrow and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I think it's a nicely designed film. It's nicely put together. I think it's a nice balancing act of the kind of the style and the substance and the kind of production nothing kind of tilts the balance too far one way. It's all quite, it stays fairly level. You're not looking at great cinema in one sense, but I mean, like you say, the shots are composed and shot very well. I love the way it's all put together. It has a sort of haze in it actually and all this stuff. But yeah, no, it's I think I pretty agree with you. I do think, I mean, certainly in terms of what I've seen of John Woo, this is probably one of the best, if not one of the better ones.
Birds in cages is another John Woo motif. Birds generally, of course, because of the fucking doves. But like birds, and that's in the opening of Hardboard as well. And I think there's caged birds in The Killer.
Mission Impossible 2 as well.
Mission Impossible 2. The Killer's got these mad kind of saxophone vibes. It's very saxophone heavy. But they're great movies, man. I'll stop going off about Hardboard when we've actually watched it. But that's just the most astonishing action sequences. But the camera is always doing something kind of interesting. There's so much movement in it, even in the kind of dialogue scenes and the sort of the dramatic beats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it starts. I mean, it is a plot that sort of gets kicked out the window quite quickly. But this idea of these are vets who have come back fallen on hard times, and they're now destitute, they're homeless and everything, and it's like that they're being hunted, and that's a really horrible thing. But it seems to be making a point about that at the start, but then that kind of gets kicked out and you realise actually it's just a thing to make our bad guys seem more badder.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's
shallow. All it is.
Shallow as a... No, I won't say that. That's a deeply offensive way of saying shallow as a... Oh, shallow as a puddle. I'll say shallow as a puddle. I'll explain later.
Okay.
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I sort of... The plot in this, I'm not that bothered. It's just the sheer spectacle of it all. And is her name... Is it Yancey Butler?
That's right.
Yeah.
She was in an episode of Frasier, I remember.
Ah, good old Frasier. I would love to see John Woo direct Kelsey Grammer. I want to see the John Woo Kelsey Grammer crossover. She's got we'll see it in the snake scene, but she's got these insanely expressive eyes. I mean, she's got like really beautiful eyes, so she looks really foxy all the time. But like she'd do this kind of weird Looney Tunes thing with her eyes. Like, so when the snake comes out, she does this thing. It's like she's looking in every direction at once, but then I don't know. It's really odd.
Yeah.
That's it. She's got sort of like a Guile from Street Fighter haircut, that sort of high top fade on the lady in the cafe.
It's like, I may be homeless, but I have got money for juice for my hair.
Air grease. Oh, he's such a weird dude, isn't he? JCVD. The mullet in this, because all those Coors adverts, he was basically dressed as this, wasn't he? With a bit extra.
Yeah, that's the weird thing for me, because it was like, was this really that iconic a look for him? Like, I guess it was, but like, I didn't. I mean, was this? He had Bloodsport and everything, I know, but was this his first sort of major film?
No, he had, because I mean, this is at the kind of like the peak. This is like peak Van Damme, really. But he'd been kind of bubbling under and doing stuff for a bit. you know, in the 80s, because this comes along kind of a bit later than you think, I think. You can see it in it, if you look at Bloodsport, he does look, because he's like 23 or something in Bloodsport, and he just looks like dead young. Because he was doing stuff. Because I think the thing is, I tell you what it was doing things for like Canon, and then in this he's doing Universal with Sam Raimi and, you know, Lance Henriksen and whatever.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is 93, so it's quite far along. You know, Street Fighter's not far away, and so on. So it's kind of, it's there. So John Woo loves cafes and things as well. There's always scenes of people like in big cafes and bars and stuff like that.
There's that artificial slowdown. I mean, that's another thing. There's obviously stuff that's been shot at 50 frames or whatever, but then there's also artificial.
Yeah, like, I really hate that. I think that happens a lot in John Woo stuff, and it's definitely, it always feels like, because the shutter speed and the frame rate are not adjusted for slow mo, and it feels like he's decided in the edit that he needs to do slow mo. So,
I love the way these guys are just going to mug and rape her in broad daylight.
Daylight.
On the street. That's how bad crime is around here.
Look at the cuts. He's kind of strange. What is he wearing?
There's an awful lot as well in this of like, because of the slow mo. There's punches and swipes that clearly don't land, and the person reacts like way after the fist or foot has gone past their face. It's like bang, a beat.
Yeah, that is kind of. If you get that wrong, you're stuck with it forever. Particularly shooting on film. It's just
yeah.
Because there's a Bloodsport. It's like when he wins at the end. There's that mad kind of like slow-mo thing that's a GIF now. Like it's GIF.
Oh right. Oh yeah. I love the way, like there, he's like, he pulls his jacket aside, doesn't he, as if to say his leg is his gun, right?
Yeah.
He has just caused significant damage to her motor vehicle. I would just like to point out that there's probably a dent now in her bonnet.
Superficial, but will require costly repairs.
Indeed.
Feeling a little hoarse? I mean, that's what I'd have said.
Yeah. No, you say, feeling a little horse.
Horse! So, Matt, I will say that about Van Damme, though. Fuck me, was he in crazy good shape. Like, he was an amazing athlete. Like,
Still is.
Oh, and that's the thing. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I could have him. He's like 50. No, he'd murder me.
And like, by all accounts as well, like, he's the one who sort of stayed fairly natural. You know, you got your Stallones who, you know, has been injecting bull semen or whatever to get himself into like insane shape. Whereas
take a mouthful. I nearly destroyed my laptop.
Sorry.
Injecting, and the thing is, I'm laughing because it's probably true. He probably wanks the cows off himself.
It was actually bull. It was bull testosterone. He was caught taking into. I think it was synthesized, but it was basically, it was illegal in Australia, and he got.
I'm glad you specified a country, because taking into, it's like his rectum, his urethra.
That's such a horrible thing. As well. Taking in.
Well, it is like expressing anal glands, which is one of the worst phrases. Look at her eyes. Look at her mad eyes.
Oh yeah.
She does so many mad eyes.
She's a very striking looking lady. She's good in this too. I like it.
Yeah, she's great, man. I think that these two are a great matchup. I mean, it's kind of hard for Van Damme to have chemistry with most people, except for when he shagged Kylie Minogue. I mean, Van Damme Kylie Minogue lived the dream in my view. But there you go. So clearly he has some kind of chemistry. She
took him into her.
He showed her his Thailand was the thing he said. But yeah, he took her in. She took him in.
She took him in.
She took him in. Who knows what they got up to? Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
I love it. Straight to pegging.
I don't fuck around. I go straight to pegging.
I'll carry it everywhere. It's like a baby's arm holding an apple. See, that's one long perspective shot, and it's just her walking up to a cake. Because it's really foreboding, kind of.
Yeah, it does feel like the sort of John Woo thesis is. I love it, just puts it in On Fire. It's the John Woo thesis that everything is interesting, isn't it? It's like earlier when we meet Van Damme. It's like you see a close-up of his earring, a close-up of his eyes, a close-up of his nostrils, a close-up of his dick. It may as well have been. It's like it's just it's. I don't know why it's just mundane. Isn't it?
It's kind of it's in danger of being a bit too rich. It's sort of like it's like ice cream for breakfast.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's a bit unrelenting. I think he does have his breaks. Like the Chinese ones in particular, I find the kind of plot scenes in the Hong Kong movies are a lot more subdued, perhaps, than the American ones. I don't know, because he didn't speak English by the time of Face Off, let alone On Target. So he had translators and stuff. So like when everything is so insanely lavished upon, or lavish, or you know what I mean. It could be a bit overwhelming, maybe.
Mr. Van Damme, sir. Mr. Wu would like you to please to be putting away your, how you say, a cock and ball.
Thailand.
I want them out.
I want them to see my Thailand.
That means my perineum.
Of course, there was talk in the chat, like, are we going to watch the theatrical cut or the extended cut or the director's cut? It's 20 minutes of extra footage.
Oh, wow.
And it's R-rated. And I put that on the schedule initially, so the schedule was wrong. This is going to, it's wrong. Oh. But most of that 20 minutes is Van Damme's perineum. There's a scene set in a glass coffee table factory, and he smashes. He hides by smashing his perineum against the glass, and then Lance Henriksen thinks it's a flesh-coloured table. It's that quality talk that you like from Val Verde Broadcasting. Yeah. It's that quality Val Verde talk.
He does not look like a hobo, let's be honest, as well. Like a hobo would not have designer stubble, Jerry curl juice, and curl juice. And he looks showered at least. He should be covered in shit.
I do sort of feel like if you put a piece of paper against that hair, it would go transparent.
Oh god, so, you could rub him against
when Homer rubs that chicken leg on the wall.
There was is it Vanessa Williams, the lady who plays the cop in this, the actress? She was in
no, is it?
A bunch. Is it Vanessa Williams? Isn't that her name?
Vanessa Williams is from The Secret Identity, Eraser. That's Vanessa Williams, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Hang on. I always get confused. Hang on, I look it up. I look it up. I got
to help Vanessa Williams get back to Secret Identity.
You've just been erased. Perineum. I don't know why.
Why not? I find it fun, so why not? Why not?
Perineum. And then she showed me her perineum. Oh, what a day that was.
Ian B says, is Vosloo a dirty shitter? I imagine Vosloo to be the opposite.
No.
I think Arnold Vosloo does one spherical black pellet once a month. like he's the ass. It just it doesn't even make a noise. It just goes like whoop. Like that's it. That's all Arnold. He's like the opposite. He's so like shiny and clean.
I don't imagine that there are many dirty shitters in South Africa. I can't see that. Cassie Lemons, so not even remotely close.
Cassie Lemons.
Vanessa Williams. But who?
She's a director now. Doug Winnicott says she's a director now.
Oh, very good, very good. Yes, she was quite prolific in the 90s. She was in Silence of the Lambs, Candyman, Harriet, which I've not. Oh, no, that's really she directed that. Sorry, apologise.
Yeah, apologize. She's in Candyman.
Yeah, she's the one who she gets brutally murdered off screen. You never actually see it, but the sound is pretty horrendous. That's
someone like punching watermelon is usually, or like it's a Foley artist demolishing a fruit. That's normally when someone's like.
It's the ripping screen. Noise. They've obviously got some clothes and ripped them, and it's horrible. It's like, is it clothes ripping or is it something else? It's pretty horrible. That's a hard film for me to watch. That. Very good though, very very good film.
Such a huge fan of Candy Lemons, just hate to see her go.
Hey,
we hate to see Candy Lemons go.
Cassie Lemons.
Whatever.
I'm so over it.
I'm bored of this conversation already. Just wish the stream would end. God.
Vosloo doesn't need TP. It's so smooth system.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It would kind of crown and it would deposit there. It'd be like those little pellets that Nibbler does. It would just crown.
Yeah, dark matter comes out.
It's like a black marble. Obsidian. I've just defecated some obsidian.
But Arnold Vosloo was in two. He was in 24, season 4.
He was the Mummy, of course.
He played Habib Marwan. He's another one who sort of manages to play quite a few different ethnicities convincingly. And he's in Bosch, which I've sort of come back to watching again after a bit of
the biopic around the drill manufacturer Bosch.
Indeed. It's up to its 5th season now. And
they haven't invented the drill yet.
Yeah,
it's
they
a
haven't even
prequel.
got to the power.
It's like Gotham. You're not going to see the drill until the last or
no
or
drills,
Smallville.
no frills.
No drills, no frills. You won't see the drill till the very end.
Yeah, it's like credits.
Of course, they won't make one on their own with their own budget. They have to borrow Brandon Routh's drill. There you go. There's those Smallville deep cuts that everybody loves.
Brandon Routh's drill. Why are you borrowing my drill?
We're making
Check your contract.
your contract. We're making a Bosch prequel series for HBO Max.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't give you the right to just take anything of mine.
It's like there's just a bunch of executives, like they've got a dude in like overalls with a crowbar breaking into Brandon Routh's shed. He's like, hey, get out of my shed! It's my goddamn drill.
Brandon Routh. He's now quite the adherent to the old ketosis diet, isn't he? He was talk about. Yeah,
I like
a bit of butter in his coffee.
Have you seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
I have it on Blu-ray. In fact, Tom, if you're still here, Tom really wants to talk about that film with us at some point.
Oh, okay, great.
Which we ought to do.
Well, him as like the hyper vegan. And then the vegan police come and shut him down. That's great.
Yeah.
He's like a Super Saiyan vegan. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's a good film, that, actually.
Doug Wannicott's talking about Surviving the Game, which is a great movie. So Gary Busey, F. Murray Abraham, or who else? Ice-T. It's a similar premise. It's like, except like they put the guy on like a sort of essentially like a game preserve, like a forest. They go after him, and it's got this famous bit where Gary Busey does a monologue about the dog he had when he was a child, and it's this insanely intense kind of. A really great movie. Great.
I'm pretty sure this is an additional scene because I don't think I've seen this before. Maybe I have. I can't remember.
We're watching a version that's 1 hour 36, and it's
whatever's
on YouTube.
I cannot remember. It's one of those films where I know it well, but I it's weird. For the longest time, it's like I guess I know because I watched it as a kid. It was so you had these different tiers. Obviously, you had the kind of God tier, standard Predator, Terminator, Alien, whatever, and then you had the kind of sub tier, and then the '90s sub tier was like this, Broken Arrow, Face Off, sometimes. What else? I'm trying to think now. Oh, Speed, of course. Like there was that other kind of tier of action films that I guess were kind of feeding off that into something else.
Yeah, the 90s was quite. The 90s kind of went the other way, didn't it? Because it was more kind of like everyman type people usually. So Keanu Reeves as a cop. It started because of Die Hard, really, I think, but it moved away from kind of the crazy martial arts mega. But there was still stuff like this. I love this guy. It's sort of Napoleon Dynamite's dad that just walks out. Sort of, that geezer there. The porno flyers. Or the titty flyers.
Moses, your pornography. I was buying pornography.
oh man. Another like all the smoky, hazy noir stuff. This is all pure wood. He loves the chiaroscuro lighting. Through the blinds, and there's always smoke and piles of paper. And there's not a lot of kind of like depth of fieldy stuff. It's normally sort of all in focus for the most part, apart from these kind of portrait shots. Like he quite often gets super wide lens, kind of crane shots of cafes and stuff like that. It's quite his sort of style. I'd quite like to do a sort of. I've always wanted to shoot like a sort of John Woosh, a sort of John Woo pastiche. But then, what's the point? Because that's Hot Fuzz. They did that so well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It is frustrating. Yes. Arnold Vosloo there when he had hair.
I've got hair. I feel like you could team him up with like Jason Statham in something, couldn't you?
What? I bet you out there probably is a film where then what I mean? It's it's got to that point
some DTV fucking.
Yeah. I don't knock DTV. I don't even make DTV. I make DDVD.
DDVD. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's all good.
Same shit.
I was like, I think even just last week, like, you know, worshipping DTV, and now I'm just going, DTV. Like I know. Hey, I'm a cap.
Have you seen this badge?
See her eyes, man.
It's my badge.
There's lingering shots of her doing mad eyes all the time.
She does have big eyebrows. She's got very caterpillar-like eyebrows.
Also, he had one of those classic movie police badges where it's like, that's a metal star on some leather. You could be fucking anyone. Whereas I want the warrant card with your fucking face and your name on it. You just like whap a badge at me.
Yeah, true.
What is she wearing, like dice around her neck?
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? So those awesome 90s fashions that all the hip youngsters were wearing at the time.
Dice! I know it's buttons, though, because buttons.
Oh, buttons. I've lost a button. Do you have a spare?
The clangers. Right.
Yeah, sure, why not? Sure, why not? Metal Examiner Carter, show off. You can't be both. One of them.
I moonlight as a metal examiner. Hi, I'm Troy McClure.
Hi, I'm John Woo.
Yeah, you might remember me from such films as Slow-Mo, the son of Slow-Mo.
The son of Slow-Mo. Yeah, it's like I was saying before. Like, I always like he had this because his thing really is like there's a real kind of gun fetish because you always get in a John Woo movie like a selection of guns. Like it's those they're like custom 45s that Castor Troy has. You know, the gold twin 45s, and then John Woo loves Berettas. There's always Berettas and things, but then all Beretta barrel, a close up on the rifle, the barrel. And Hardboard has like that crazy elephant gun thing that like they shoot Katanga with, but you know the real version.
He's also very consistent with his like the rounds when they're out. You know the top slide always locks back. There's always lots of like this gun procedural stuff that you have to. It's very kind of on the money with all that. Which that's very Woo. Was Broken Arrow John Woo?
Yeah, Broken Arrow's John Woo.
Yeah. So same thing again. Lots of that.
Pat Titanic says, Richard, did Van Damme use hair extensions? That seems like a cruel question to ask the bald man. Too soon.
You'd know.
Oi, Ming.
I bet he's farting during all this when Lance Henriksen is like kicking him in the guts. It's like, I can't have a dirty shitter. Please don't.
Oh god.
I ate 3 enchiladas.
I don't recall Van Damme having long hair in much else. I mean, maybe it is extensions. I don't know. I don't recall him having long. He must have done, I suppose. He sort of looks like a sort of greasy 80s Tarzan. You know, like if he was in a loincloth with that mullet. He would look like some...
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that Lance Henriksen's beating up looks like he would play Super Mario in a porn parody. Which Ron Jeremy must have done. Ron Jeremy must have done that, you'd have thought.
Now he has long hair.
That's true, he does. They're not extensions. And he doesn't leave them between his legs. I'm saying he's got a large penis.
Ian Boucher and Stuart Patrick have both sent us £5, just so you know.
Any message or just 5 as
No, or one said just because it's Van Damme.
Thing is, people fucking love, but people that love Van Damme, man, they love Van Damme. I've got a lot of respect for him. I really like him for a lot of reasons. I don't like everything he's done.
Yeah,
I'm not going to pretend that because
I don't like everything I've done. That's just normal.
Well, you see the is it Replicant? It's him and Xander Berkeley.
I don't know.
It's like so they have they're a serial killer, and they get a sample of his DNA, and they clone the serial killer, and they use him as like a bloodhound to hunt the real one, and Xander Berkeley's like his handler. That's Replicant.
Right.
Because we talked about this before, I think, like the Van Damme and Doubles.
Yeah.
Because he's played, multiples of himself a few times, maybe because he just saw Dead Ringers and was jealous of Jeremy Irons and just did it a bunch of times.
Probably was that,
yeah. This is the only logical explanation. Or he was raised in a house without mirrors, didn't see one until he was 25, and decided that, it was the most glorious thing ever. I don't know. But yeah, the thing of Van Damme playing himself twice is a consistently reappearing thing, it seems.
Yes. Yeah. It happens more than I think as well, because I always think it happened like once, and then no, it happened thrice, I think. Okay. Jordan, apologies. Pardon me. That's that thing of those shit.
The granddad collar. I knew you were going to say something.
It's not a granddad collar. It's not a granddad collar.
What's a granddad collar?
That's what shirts used to look. Basically, that's what a shirt. Like collars and cuffs were detachable because you would wash them and you wouldn't wash the shirt, right?
Here we go.
But that's like, it's like TGV. I was listening to one of his recent videos, and he was talking about Henleys. You know what Henley is? So it's like a long sleeve T-shirt, but you've got the like the buttons in the middle like that just come down a bit, right? So you got
like this, but this is a short sleeve T-shirt,
right? Yeah. Now I wear those. I'm not on that side, but I'm just saying he raised
on that side. I love it. That's the most partisan. I'm not on that side. It makes me sick.
Hang on, listen, right. So he raised a very good point, though, that those used to be underwear. That's what people wore as underwear. So it's like, why are people going around wearing underwear? And it's the same sort of thing with that shirt. It's just like, put a collar on it. I don't understand. You need a collar.
You're such a mad cunt.
It's like, do you remember it? I don't know if you do, but when I was at school, like in sixth form, we used to have to wear suits. And people would bought, because it was fashionable at the time, people bought they're like Bond villain jackets. They had like no lapels. They just went like that shirt, but just a suit jacket. And I used to hate that. And they would wear normal collared shirts underneath. It looked awful, but it was kind of cool at the time.
My sixth form was where you were just allowed to wear your own clothes, instead of, because school uniform, and then you were just allowed to wear your own clothes in sixth form.
Yeah, well, that was like our version of that, I guess, because you could wear. Well, you had to wear a tie.
Those monsters with their Chairman Mao jackets. Well, no, that's different. Yeah. It's sort of like. They love to use that as shorthand where it's not really appropriate, because doesn't Elliot Carver wear the Chairman Mao kind of thing?
Oh, they all do. Well,
and it's like, he's supposed to be like a fucking... Oh, M wears it. What, like...
Judi Dench's M's always walking around in those sort of Nehru jackets. Yeah, it's not right. But in a lighter colour, I guess, but like still.
It's not right. That's what they do.
Right.
But the old thing of those kind of long sleeve things being underwear, and just the intense number of layers and thickness of clothing people used to wear.
Yeah, in the midst of summer.
You've seen that Mitchell and Webb Queen Victoria sketch, right? Where David Mitchell plays David Mitchell plays the Prime Minister and Robert Webb's Queen Victoria. It's one of the most perfectly formed pieces of comedy ever. Right, I'll send it to you after. It's like 2.5 minutes. One of my favourite comedy sketches. It's brilliantly written. But there is a bit with David Mitchell, because it's the middle of summer, and he just goes, "I am boiling. I'm boiling in this hat and these gloves and this beard. I'm boiling, and this is because of you." Oh, it's just so good. It's sort of indignant rage. David Mitchell. I'll send it to you later because I don't want to spoil the kind of
David Mitchell.
No. Yes, I saw him at Ely Cathedral last winter.
Oh, right.
Doug Wannacott says collars are prejudiced against people with no necks. Amazing.
The decapitated.
Val, the Winged Comic Exchange. I had one of those suits for my 18th. I'm not proud of it.
Shouldn't be proud of it.
The Nehru collar jacket, says Stuart Patrick. That's N.
Nehru, yeah.
Nehru. Okay.
Yeah, terrible, shocking. I mean, they belong on Bond villains. They belong on that sort of,
Yeah, well, again, see, Mr. HEC 381991 has leaped to the punchline of the David Mitchell Robert Webb thing, but it is a wonderful piece of comedy. I've inspired Mitchell and Webb talk now. Her crazy eyes. Look at her crazy eyes all the time.
She got Betty crazy.
She must have borrowed some of Van Damme's coked cane. He was rather fond of Colombian-style coked cane at this point, as we've talked about before.
Coked cane.
Mad coke fiend. Have you? We've probably talked about this before, but have you watched JCVD? The kind of Belgian. It's a wonderful movie, and it's a really great performance from him. And it's one of those things that's people just kind of go like, "Oh yeah, well, it's easy to play yourself." Is it? Do you just know how to hit your mark and learn a script and know where the lighting is and when
assuming you understand the procedurals of making a film like that, like hitting your mark and all that good stuff. it's still not the same thing. Like that's what they always say about things like this. It's sort of, you get that with like Matt LeBlanc in Top Gear. He's sort of playing or episodes. He's playing a version of himself, but he's not really playing himself.
And that's the joke. That's the whole joke there as well. Is that he's playing,
Yeah, and it's the same thing I think a bit with the JCVD thing, because it is like a sort of parody type thing. There's that moment obviously where he kind of gets raised up through the sound stage.
Yeah, and he monologues to the camera.
And that's sort of I think the only time when he's actually him, and then I think the rest of the time it's kind of like this impression of him. It's like that's the idea anyway. It's like Hollywood's impression of him, because that film's quite old now, isn't it?
It's a good 10 or 12 years old, I think.
We started trying to watch the JCV. What's it called? Uncle Van Johnson thing on.
It got that's supposed to be really great, but it got cancelled like after a season or something.
Yeah, well, because it was part of that. They did those 3 pilots that included The Tick, that, and something else. And
there was a Zombieland pilot, I think.
Right, and The Tick is the one that got picked up, and then I think Jean-Claude Van Johnson got picked up again for that series, and I don't know if they're going ahead with any more of it. It's a shame, because it was all right. It was a laugh. I could see it having legs, but
I like that he's prepared to sort of. I don't think you would ever see, because I can't remember which way around it is, but in JCVD, I think in JCVD he's trying to see his daughter, but he doesn't actually have a daughter. He's got a son. So the facts are changed a bit different, which is a classy move, to not protect to not make fun of real people, whatever. But it's focused on his kind of struggle and everything. And I don't think you would ever get Schwarzenegger doing a reflective piece about knocking up the maid, or Stallone injecting bull semen into his urethra, or whatever you said. Whatever you said was a true fact.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. with provable,
a legally actionable true fact.
This business, you're in Baton Rouge or wherever, and you're wearing a frickin' polo neck under another shirt. You mad bastard. Yeah, but that was the style of it. As was hoiking your pantaloons so high as
and it's like someone else got that belt, put a foot on like his waist, and took a cut. And
I
had some ribs removed.
That's supposed to be the sort of the height of sophistication, isn't it?
Oh man, he's got his spats on.
I know. Like, what the fuck?
Well, Woo quite often does things with sort of slightly sartorial villains as well. I mean, that is a thing. I mean, quite often in the Hong Kong ones, it's just these mad fashions. Something I always liked in like the kind of 90s Golden Harvest Jackie Chan films, like it's got this great kind of Eastern concept of what a white guy is like. And they're all like 6'5" ponytailed Vikings in pastel green Dorito-shaped jackets and roll necks, and shiny shoes, and again the kind of zoot suit trousers and stuff. So like all the kind of like white bad guys, because Golden Harvest did made loads of Jackie Chan is in Australia, Jackie Chan is in Amsterdam, and Rumble in the Bronx in New York and stuff like that. And it's got a very Asian concept of what the white guys are like, and there is the kind of crazy
Arnold.
Oh, sorry,
wristwatch check. Arnold Vosloo appears to be wearing a Submariner, I think, Rolex Submariner. Anyway,
Lance has got something on as well, but I couldn't see it.
Lance's is a bit more refined as he is. I mean, this is all costume detailing, so the Submariner is a diver's watch. It's not a million miles away from something like that, so that's a GMT Master, but it's the same sort of thing.
Pepsi,
yeah. Or a Seamaster. That's a diver's watch. My watch is all out because anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, it's obviously a costume choice because Vosloo is the hired help, so he's wearing the kind of tool watch thing, and then Lance Henriksen's character is dressed that way. He's the kind of, he doesn't actually get his hands dirty apart from once or twice. He has that gun that he has to reload every time. That's totally impractical, but that's kind of he's the sort of flashy bon vivant,
because he has the crazy elephant pistol thing, right? It's the same. It comes out in Hard Boiled as well, and it's in like Story of Ricky. I think it's the same one, like that kind of.
He holds it really weird as well, doesn't he? He puts his hand like on his thing when
he does the kind of strange aim,
like he's playing pool or whatever, or snooker.
Simon Pope has arrived. Simon Pope has arrived. Hey, Simon Pope.
Simon Pope on a rope.
Pope on a rope. Honk honk. The Vardon says. I'm going to be pushed between two hot dogs by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Is that a Christmas tree in the background?
I think
is this a Christmas movie? Is this a Christmas movie?
Oh, let's do a video essay about it. It's no. Never did.
Live there.
No, why not?
Not a guarantee.
What was I? I was about to read a comment.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Oh yeah, the Vardon. Van Damme has a daughter, not a son. Also, she's hot, but I wouldn't mess about. No, I probably wouldn't either. Coked up Belgian that could roundhouse kick your face off. I'm
So you see Stallone walking around with his wife and his daughters, and they're all very glamorous and beautiful and stuff like that, and you just think you wouldn't want to be the poor bastard who had to like knock on the door and be like, "Hi, Mr. Stallone, I have to take your daughter to me." Oh yeah, you know, he's back by 10. No fucking.
Oh, he might. Oh, yeah, I didn't. No fucking. Yeah, you don't want to be the guy that fucking fingers Stallone's daughter in a screening of the Emoji Movie. Then he tears your arms and legs off whilst everybody watches.
That's an oddly specific thing you're worrying about there.
Oh yeah, no, it's the choice of film that bothers me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This guy, I know this guy probably is grey, but he does sort of look like he's got flour in his hair, like a kid in a school play.
Yeah, he looks like he's probably smoked too many cigarettes. He just sort of looks ill rather than.
Yeah, he's
old.
like 29 again.
Yeah,
you know, confirmed Crimbo movie. Oh, look, there you go. Omar Zambon saying there's some kind of special edition of Replicant coming out. He has pre-ordered it. Well, he is Omar's like a sort of Blu-ray pimp.
He is. He's got. I imagine him to be like Bruce Wayne, and he pulls a book out of the thing, and it turns.
It turns right. Yeah.
It descends to his like layer of
just blue spines.
He's got, and in the basement, he's got one of those machines like in a razor. You know, the big computer thing that you have to go in and tap into, and it's like a big thing that goes around, selecting things, like being inside.
Oh, very good. Yeah,
like the SATA drive. It's like, yeah, that's what I imagine it. And he's like, he puts in what he wants, and he goes, here you are. Here's the special edition of Replicant.
As Omar rightly points out, Ted Raimi's cameo is coming up. Ted Raimi. He's in the spot. You know, he appears in all things Sam Raimi almost. And he's in this in a moment. The strange kind of half-life of Ted Raimi appearing in all things. Bless him. The thing is with Ted Raimi's great, right? And he's really funny as kind of J.K. Simmons' foil in the Spider-Man movies. You know, where he's like the kind of schlub that works in J.J. Jameson's office. Unfortunately, whenever I think the first time I saw Ted Raimi probably was in the Evil Dead films, and Evil Dead 2 plays the Pit Witch at the end, like Henrietta. And there's a really good making of documentary they shot on tape around that time. And all I can ever think of is Ted Raimi was sealed in this witch suit, and there's a bit where he takes the boot off the witch costume, and he like pours the sweat out, and it comes out like half a pint, like enough fluid to go out. And that's all I can think of when I think of Ted Raimi. God bless him. is just I've never seen that amount of sweat in one place. You know, distributed over a person, fine. Not to enough to like fill a glass. Just no, not all right.
That was a big thing in the 90s, wasn't it? Like knocking at the door, and then when someone looks through the peephole, shooting through the peephole, it's like you can't see when they're looking through the peephole. So how would you know when they're going to do that? It's just like that. It's
because the peephole goes black. The light goes out of the peephole when someone puts their eye to it. That's,
I suppose. Maybe. All right, fair enough.
I'll get out of
it. So I'm not a hired assassin.
Whereas I did do it briefly after sixth form.
I had a summer job once.
But yeah. I've got, it's like Deliveroo for murders. I do that sometimes. Give you a branded pistol. Speaking of which, hold on. This has been very useful in the pandemic. Now, other delivery services are available. I don't do Deliveroo anymore. But you basically have these awesome call bags you can take anywhere. So I've been taking it to the supermarket, to shops. You can put all the frozen goods in it. At the moment, it has got beer in it and some ice.
Nice.
There you go. That's my branded pistol that I used to shoot people. Floyd75 Dylan says Stallone would sniff your fingers after you've brought her home. I just wanted to make you do that. I'm sorry.
That's. I mean, we've been talking about perineums, so
yeah, true.
We brought it on ourselves, but
perineum Leeson.
Yeah. We haven't really talking about Lance Henriksen in this, but I really like him. I think he doesn't play bad guys that much that I've seen.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, the thing is with him is like, And I think that because he's done loads of really low rent kind of asylum stuff and whatnot. But the thing is, like, he always just gives it 100%, more so in actual fact. So even if some kind of ropey thing's on, he's always great in it. Like, he always totally, and he puts so much. If you hear, you know, we've both seen all this stuff like Near Dark and whatever. He puts so much into roles. Like, you know, there's so much research and kind of. I'm not sure if I'm qualified to refer to it as method, but, you know, he's got that kind of studied thing, I think.
Yeah, he thinks about it a lot. I mean, it's true. I mean, when you think about it, if you're going to really look like you are someone on screen, you have to kind of be able to, you know, most of us, we're governed by our subconscious 95% of the time. So it's kind of like, you've got to try and step into someone's shoes and act as though they're not, you know, that's why people are talking about motivation and stuff, because it's like, that's what's important, is to understand what a character's motivation is, because, you know, they wouldn't be aware of it. You're not aware of it in daily life. Your motivations usually come from somewhere in the back of your head. But to sort of properly replicate what that's like for another person, you've got to go into this insane detail in order to just appear normal, effectively, you know. Which is why the sort of shortcut is to kind of make them as close to you as possible, so that you don't have to do all of that. But I think I think this is peak Henriksen in terms of he looks the best in this. He looks proper, like. Yeah,
he's in that sweet spot of, like, you know, it's going to sound really bad, but there's a point where he's too young and there's a point where he's too old, and this is like the prime, the Goldilocks Henriksen, if you like.
He's probably like 50 or something in this, isn't he? I mean, I don't know. He
must have been, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. He must have been. I mean, this is getting on for 30 years old, which is troubling.
Yes.
John Woo loves a candle. He loves a gravesite. He loves naked flame is a thing you see so much. I know that he's a director who makes films in which things explode, but like candles in particular always seem to be a motif.
That's right. Yeah.
And like wacky guns and rocket launchers, kind of weird, you know, unusual, non-standard firearms are a thing.
Well, and this guy's given the most ludicrous like gun, because, you know, he's obviously.
Bless Woo.
He's you know, that's designed to make him look like an incompetent idiot. You know, it's like giving the biggest, most ridiculous gun. You know, and then because he's look at
all this perspective stuff. This is great. Like, this is so well covered. It started with a crane shot, and then this kind of woozy perspective, and you get all these great things where it tracks and like a motorcycle takes a corner and stuff like that. I just think it's so brilliantly covered. Like, it's the thing. Like, all the action stuff, even if you just watch the action shit, it's just like top tier. You know, he's one of the best action directors ever. I mean, I realise I'm not going to follow him over a cliff, considering some of the stuff he's done in terms of his movies. But
I love that shot of him. He shoots the statue and the head explodes and the guy's right behind it. So.
There's all these great inventive little shots in Woo films. That's what I like. I think he's kind of like I do think he's kind of fearless in his framing and stuff, because he just does shit you never would have thought of. And now, because, you know, 30, 40 years later, everybody does it. Like, it's so influential. Like, everybody just does that stuff now.
Doug Wanacott says, Lance Henriksen plays loads of bad guys. Before this, he was a bad guy in Near Dark, Johnny Hansen, Stone Cold, some others.
Oh, Stone Cold, some others.
That's 3 done, and none of which I've seen, but fair enough.
Stone Cold is amazing. Is it Brian Bosworth? It stars like this NFL player. Oh, mate, no, but like... Stone Cold's awesome. It's so good. I can't explain it. It's not a vision. It's like a cop film. Lance plays a bad guy in it, and there's one point where he goes undercover as a vicar and murders some people in a church. It's fucking Stone Cold's awesome. It's super good, and it has this amazing opening scene where he like foils a robbery in like a 7-Eleven type thing. Stone Cold's great, mate. You're just gonna have to believe me, Duncan. You just have to believe me.
Has he got Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah, why not? Look at that tie. Look at that gingham tie.
The tie and shirt combination is just terrible. Don't throw your brass on the floor, you arse. I'll trace you.
I'll find your fingerprints on the casings.
Batman will piece it together in a brick for some reason.
Michael Caine's going to put it in a machine.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I don't think you made it loud enough. He'll say.
Lance Henriksen, he's got just an amazing face before you do anything else. He's got an amazing voice. He's got like an amazing face. There's like those lines on his face and stuff. Like,
that's what smoking will do for him.
Yeah, or eating cigarettes in his case. We
Is this
assume-
Ted Raimi's cameo coming up? Can't remember.
I can't remember now.
Doesn't he bump into him and grab hold of him? He's like,
Yeah,
"Get
it's
off
it's
me."
a typically Ted Raimi, because like wacky
Here,
Ted
look.
Raimi cameo.
Somewhere here, I think, maybe.
If we
Here,
go-
there he is. No. Wait.
Yeah, I thought he bumps
oh.
into him, and it's like
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like, he gives a very...
there was
kind of-
Corey Feldman just there.
there
There he is. Oh, look at maximum Ted Raimi. Look at that suit, that beige kind of outfit.
I'm busy being a wise guy.
Busy
always got
being
free-
beige.
There's this freeze frame stuff here, isn't there? It's like, get it?
Yeah, this is a device John Woo uses this elsewhere. It's weird because it's not something you really see much. Like freeze frames in kind of action scenes in movies. It is a weird. So I like. It's a great performance from him because you can see he's just given up. It's a really brief shot, but you see him just. It's like the strings have been cut on a puppet, and he just kind of goes like. And just sort of lets it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes my hair feel good. It makes my hair feel so good.
I'm worth it.
Colin McLean says, Richard, did you see Enemy Closer, where Van Damme plays the bad guy and is dressed as a Canadian Mountie? He's absolutely crazy every time of his life. Yes, I have seen Enemy Closer. That's a great DTV. It's by John or Peter Holmes. I can't remember which one. But yeah, it's a great... Van Damme plays a villain, and there's a bit where he disguises as a Mountie. And he's doing kind of like... Not exactly Nicolas Cage level, but it's Van Damme cutting loose and doing crazy. And it's really cool, actually, yeah. Really great bit of DTV stuff. And I think I said maybe when we discussed this, but Van Damme in the Universal Soldier sequels that Scott Adkins is in one of, and that's by John and Peter Holmes as well. They're really cool. They're really cool, sort of like Smash Mouth DTV action movies. Like, and he's like in the one of them, Van Damme plays the Universal Soldier character as kind of traumatized and sort of broken, and they're trying to bring him out with surgery. And I think the psychiatrist is the wife from My Hero with Ardlo Hanlon. Never mind. And then in the next one, never mind. In the next one, he's the bad guy, and he's doing Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. And it's really cool. Like, it's really good. Like, he's got real chops, man. I'm yeah.
Fair play.
You know. So yeah, we interviewed Lance Henriksen for Icon, and he was fucking cool. He's mad. He's really mad. He's got this great energy. He just walks in the room. He's kind of like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And just like he's like all your mad uncles combined. He's really nice. He's really, really nice. Really funny dude. So you go. That was one of the most exciting. I think that and Tony Todd were probably, and obviously Robert, were among my most exciting days. That was right. Lance Henriksen as well was right towards the end when I was really fucking knackered and burnt out. But I was kind of like, Bishop's coming.
He's a cool guy, man. I just like, he's one of those people who's kind of earned his stripes, I think. But I sort of wish he kind of got that one definitive thing. He's kind of managed to be a part of massive, huge properties. Some of the biggest properties, going. But, yeah, he's
Well, you know that, like, this... I hate... The lazy example is like, oh, well, if you want to bring an actor back, then Quentin Tarantino has to anoint them.
Oh, yeah.
So it has to be like Carradine or Travolta. And there are other examples. And I'm not saying... But like, Lance Henriksen could 100,000,000% have done a bunch of Tarantino movies. He would have slotted right in there. And, like, I'm sure there are other better directors I can think of that would have... come back and then, you put Lance Henriksen once again in a big mainstream. Because he does shit tons of voice, man. Like, he was in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. He's in a bunch of other games, like animation. That's the thing about Henriksen. I don't know about right now.
Vosloo looks well Statham there. Sorry.
Dude, that's what I was saying earlier. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, if you double team those two. Because when Statham used to still wear his hair, like Vosloo was early 2000s, like when Statham still... Yeah, these two... I would like to see the Hobson Shaw thing and maybe make Arnold Vosloo the bad guy next time or something.
Definitely. So Henriksen isn't it him and Bill Paxton the only people who've been killed by a Predator, Terminator, and an Alien?
There are 3 now. Oh god, I can't remember what tipped that over. Yeah, there are. I think it's 3 now because of somebody else. I can't fucking think who.
Is it someone who's been killed by them in like a shit recent?
Or like Prometheus or something.
Prometheus or Genesis or something like. Is that what's done it?
I think someone's going to say. I'm sure there was a third, but it's still a very exclusive club. You know,
Yeah,
it's the Friends of James Cameron Society. I mean, Predator wasn't that, but I miss Bill Paxton, man. It's one of those people you just forget is gone because it just seems so weird. Like he shouldn't be.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was such a bullshit way to go as well. Like.
On the table, man. Like, right. I don't. It's not a well-loved series, but the first series of Agents of Shield, like in the second half, Bill Paxton turned up as the bad guy, and it's one of the last things he did, and he's just having he's having the time of his life. It's so good. Like he's just going crazy. He's got this wonderful energy. He's having so much fun. Like it's awesome. I love that. So it's nice. To me, he went out on a kind of high with that. You know, like
yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, he's. I mean, the good thing is he never sort of. I don't think he ever really did anything that he was terrible in at all. You know what I mean? It's like, and he's had some pretty indelible.
See what I mean? That was a really good. Sorry to interrupt. It's a really good example of John Woo covering action. So he does the slow motion dive. 2 rounds come out the pistol, and then it cuts to 2 bullet hits. Goes back to the drivers, and then there's 1 round comes out the pistol, and you get 1 hit on the glass.
Yeah,
right? So
well, that's
you get this kind of exchange of shots where you see where bullets are accounted for and stuff like that. I just find
well, all that stuff is like, you have to remember, like when all squibs and all these bullet hits are going off, that's not.
They're not linked at all. Yeah, they're not linked at all. You have to on the day probably like storyboards. Well, that bullet's going to go there, and then I got to cover that. There's motorbike stunts, mate. Hard boiled. There's a bit where a motorcycle. This is going to sound well like Danny from Hot Fuzz, but fuck it. A motorcycle comes at Chow Yun Fat playing Tequila. He shoots it in the kind of engine block and it skids, and he dives over it just as another bike comes at him, and he shotguns the engine of the second bike while in midair. It's amazing, and that's just 1 3-second bit of like this intense action scene that goes on for a few minutes, stops for a bit, and then just starts again. And there's a whole like second. The warehouse scene is the one I'm talking about. It's incredible. It's probably one of my favourite action scenes committed to film. I just think it's an incredible piece of work done on really not a lot of money. Like those Hong Kong John Woo films, they've probably been restored now, but they always look. They're always like made in like 1989, but they look like they were made in 1979. Not because of the outfits, just of how shit the prints are. Like it looks, like it looks like a dog's been sleeping on it for a decade, and then they master that to a shit pan and scan DVD or whatever, or tape really, because I watched them on tape originally.
Yeah. Dan Lyle says Terminator didn't. I'm assuming he's talking about Bill Paxton. He says Terminator didn't kill him. He's alive in the novelisation of Tito, and a xenomorph didn't kill him because he's a robot.
He's wait.
I know he's talking about Bill
Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen, sorry. Yeah, and
I'm going to say that the survival of Lieutenant Volkovich is non-canonical.
Yeah, exactly. If you have to read a book, like, I'm sorry.
What is the one with? So how does the
xenomorph didn't kill him because he's a robot? Well, in Aliens, he gets ripped in half and thrown across the floor.
Yeah, then he dies but he dies in Alien 3. He dies as injuries. Dan Lyles is having the Ridley Scott discussion of is he really alive?
Yeah.
Which that's valid.
It is, but I mean the point is his character is done away with by the that's. I don't think we have to. It doesn't have to be a literal death.
Damn you, Dan! Damn you, Dan Lyles! Dan did a Ghost Pit 2 graphic for me.
Oh, nice!
Ghost Pit 2: The Curse of the Obelisk, with the misspelling of obelisk in it and everything.
I remember this. This sequence is pretty. This is sort of fairly woo, isn't it?
Well, this is what I use for the thumbnail. The still from here, and this is the thing, because here when he's in the double denim, what they did for those Cause adverts is put him in like triple denim, but it's basically the hard target outfit, which I like. It's a kind of deep cut. Oh, was it a vest? It was a vest, wasn't it?
It was a sleeve. Yeah, it was like a shirt with the sleeves ripped off.
Right. Okay, so it wasn't triple denim. It was like, see this.
So obviously that was on the trailer, and now you know what I mean. Like all the cuts. That's the trouble. Like you don't really get away with those cuts because it's pretty obvious that. But anyway, that's fine. Yes, I don't think that. Look at that! You could not do that.
Well, it's those things because, like, have you ever seen a Wall of Death live? You know the motorcycles.
Not live, no.
Okay, so I did. I saw it one live at Festival a few years ago, and they have special motorbikes where they can lock the throttle. Because obviously the reason that wouldn't work is because you can't accelerate because you're standing on the bike. But like the Wall of Death ones, they have special like locked throttles because they do all that shit where they stand on the bike. But it's like a specially adapted bike, which is a random bike. It's
Yeah.
like, is she using your foot to use the throttle?
It's also a thing of like cars are insanely explosive. Like that just wouldn't happen. That's not how cars work. And that exploded twice. The same explosion happened twice.
Someone has said, Colin McLean has said, I suggest Bill Paxton flicks for next vote on the watch party. And someone else has said Weird Science, which is a great Bill Paxton role. And I know that's rentable on Google. So if Duncan, I would like Duncan. Duncan's kind of in charge of the votes and the Patreon things. I humbly submit that a Bill Paxton thing would be quite nice. Of some,
We could do that. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Weird Science is on rental and stuff, so we could do that. And it's a great movie. And John Hughes. We can talk about John Hughes. I like John Hughes.
Haven't seen it. Okay.
Whatever.
No.
Oh man, it's a treat. It's kind of hasn't aged well, but it particularly. But it's a treat. Weird Science is a really fun movie. Really fun movie.
That train had a tarp-covered consignment of cardboard boxes on its way to wherever.
It's the box. It's the cardboard box factory where Milhouse's dad works.
That's right.
The bad guy uses this kind of. It's like an elephant gun thing. He uses it in Hard Boiled as well. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah, Paxton off would be good. I don't know because we'd end up putting Predator 2 would win, obviously. Let's be honest. Probably what.
You're dying to get that. A Simple Plan. Have you seen that? The Sam Raimi movie?
No.
It's Billy Bob Thornton, Bill Paxton. It's a trio of them. I can't remember. But it's basically because Raimi and the Coens were friends since they were young. It's Raimi's first kind of straight drama thriller, starring Bill Paxton, and it's about three, I think they're brothers or two brothers and a friend who find $1 million in a crashed plane with a body,
right.
And then they have a simple plan to keep the money, and it's a really great, cool thriller.
Twister.
Fuck, do you like Twister?
No.
Good, because I never fucking got it. My ex-girlfriend fucking loved Twister. I never got it. I mean, it was just such a vanilla 90s film. You know, it's Helen Hunt, and I had nothing against it. Do you know what Twister is? Twister is missionary sex with the lights off. That's what Twister is.
There's nothing wrong with
that. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's just that...
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. But come on.
The end result is still, the same. You're still a true orgasm.
To use... to paraphrase Frankie Boyle, whereas Hard Target is Sex in the City, but the sex is anal and the city's Dundee. That is such a sort of one of those locked off shots where I always find that, like, if you're going to shoot, this happens a lot in very low budget stuff, but it's like you've got a travelling scene between two characters on foot, right? They always have to enter frame, stop, have a bit of dialogue, whether it's expository or not, and then exit frame. And it's so sort of school play. Yes.
It's so sort of like, there's a thing in the thing. Shall we go? Okay, let's go. And it's like it just never works because you need that.
That's like an early sound film thing. That's like 1930s, like, we've just invented cameras type thing. It's just like you walk... Well, no, that was 30 years prior, just invented sound. You know what I mean? It's like we have to walk into... Because that's something that Red Letter Media's criticism about Star Wars was, right? The prequels. There are loads of scenes in a similar vein of people just walking down corridors, stopping, talking, and then walking off.
Yeah,
and
it's that thing... It's also very hard to sell as an actor because it's such an unnatural thing to do. Here comes your big wide eye shot with the snake, right?
Look at this! Look! Crazy
the
eyes!
whites of her eyes.
Love it. Bless her.
I love it. He just bishes it in the face.
This is amazing. It's so mad.
Slap you! I slap you!
Snake slap! Punchless snake.
He's doing that trick with the napkin that your dad does, where he runs his thumb up.
Yeah, like the Morecambe and Wise. He bites the fucking rattle off the end of it as well.
Yeah, I guess that's isn't that like a Viet Cong thing, so that they can't hear it? So it's a trap for them. So you take the rattle off so they can't hear.
Poor snake. Worms 217 is in the room. Nicky, hey man, welcome. Late arriver, but he's been busy doing stuff. So fair dues.
Oh, riding the fucking mush, mate.
Oh, me fucking mush, mate.
Oh, no, mate. No, it's not good, mate. That happened to me uncle last Tuesday.
I gotta suck it out using me clacker.
We had to inject him with bull semen. It wasn't pretty, mate.
Don't worry, guys. Sylvester Stallone's here.
Hey, yo. Hey,
That always gets me. Just hey yo. It's just such a great like. Hey yo. Oh god. Oh god. I love that because this is a film you would never if someone said to you if you were watching the credits to this and it was like puppets by you'd be like what like where
Yeah.
what
Where?
there's like a fucking not animate there's I think it's like probably a rod puppet snake like a wire
Yeah.
control no it's like a snake but he gives it that camp little smack and then boshes it.
Here's Wilford.
Well,
Wilford
bless
Brimley.
him, age 29 or whatever. Diabetes. He's fucking awesome though, isn't he?
He does a great. It's a very hard accent to pull off that the whole
The Cajun thing.
Cajun thing. It's not easy, and him. This is a good example of doing it successfully. And Michael Jeter in The Green Mile, they're both very very hard to pull off.
The late Michael Jeter.
Indeed, died on my birthday, 2004.
Were you there?
Never forget.
Did he come out paintballing with you or something?
Yeah,
I
I killed him.
You went PJ and Duncan on it, but went too far.
This-
I always thought. I tell you what. Until today, I thought it was Wilfred Brimley, but it's Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, it's
I had
Wilford.
no idea because maybe it's my Britishness. It's, Wilfred, like Wilfred
Yeah.
Bramble or whatever. But I thought it was Wilfred forever.
What? It's close, man. It's
Close
not.
enough.
Yeah, easy mistake.
Going back to just getting people's names wrong.
Wilford.
That's-
Wilford.
And this
Can you imagine.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, can you imagine anyone calling their baby? Because obviously at the moment we're going through a lot of baby names. Obviously Wilford not being one of them. But can you imagine, like nowadays we keep saying names like Winifred and Mildred and things like that, and it's like, can we bring that back? I don't think we can.
People
It's
are
just-
though. No, but all the old
Yeah.
names because suddenly there's loads of babies called like Gladys and. Well, the other thing is like because I know a very good friend of mine, their baby's called Archie, not Archibald, Archie. So the diminutives of the old names are bad.
Can I just point out that he's wearing a Henley as underwear, as intended in this shot?
Yeah.
A red Henley.
A red Henley. Those are the best ones because I always think of like red long johns, like the
Yeah, well they are.
fiery
They
red.
are.
But do they have the bum flap that they always had in cartoons? Cause I love,
Yeah.
I love the arse flap. and I
Some
love
guy on one of those railroad things that you push up and down, thumb flap.
it. Yes, that sums up quite a long period of cartoons.
Most of Warner Brothers, 1950 to. You're like whistling and doing that. Diabetes.
So it can't just be a shotgun. It has to be a dusty chrome shotgun. So you can show it shiny, but then a slow motion shot of him blowing dust out of the breech. And
Yeah.
he loves that. They do it in Hot Fuzz. Like they love to rack a police shotgun and show the shell come out with all the smoke. That happens so often in John Woo movies because it looks fucking rad, and you can add that slow motion clunk.
We did it in my my film 4+1 ident that you can find on YouTube
Oh, yes,
somewhere.
yes.
There's lots of close-ups of that, and when you do it, you think, oh, I bet that probably didn't look very cool. But when you see it in slow mo, you do see the shell ejecting out.
Just to be clear, so this is a funny thing about that. So there is there's a publicly funded channel in Britain called Channel 4, if you're not from Britain, and it's quite an institution at this point. It's been around since 1981, I think, and they started their film branch called Film 4, which paid for Train Spotting and like tons of other famous British films. Then they have a channel called Film 4 that shows films, which isn't as good as it used to be, but we won't go into that. And there's an ident for that years ago where a man shoots loads of clay pigeons with a shotgun, and I remember it very distinctly from watching Film 4. And then when I met you, I didn't know it was you. And then you said to me this, and I was like, fuck, it's Duncan. So if you go back, if you put like on YouTube like Film 4 clay pigeon ident or something.
If you put it's like Film 4. It was because it was for Film 4+1. It was the ad. I mean, it was done as an ident on Film 4, but it was the ad essentially for Film 4+1.
The
idea was
the advent
capture
of plus ones.
Yeah, so it was like if you keep missing your films, right? Because he keeps missing the film cans that get shot. You can catch them again on +1. So the +1 is sort of represented by the shotgun he picks up and then shoots the film can that explodes into a red mist. because that was the Film 4 logo. You can find it on, I suppose you can put Film 4 plus one ident into YouTube or something like that.
I've definitely seen it, or maybe it was on your show. But I remember watching that, and you're wearing big sunglasses as well. I remember watching that, and it wasn't until quite a while after I met you. You talked about it, and I was like, I fucking remember that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go.
Yes. I had a really cool had a cool Jensen Interceptor in that as well, which is a car, by the way, Richard.
No offence, if you say it, it's a car or a watch. And
that's true.
And
none taken. That's fine.
And Interceptor is the car in Mad Max, so it was able to reverse engineer. I got to be honest. I nearly said, "Is that a watch?" first.
I got to be honest. I nearly said, "Is that what you call your cock?"
Do you mean
a Jensen Interceptor? You know, because that sounds about right.
Oh
doesn't it?
No, he's got out his Interceptor again. Oh,
yeah, it's Jensen
covered in tumours and warts.
And sores.
Sores. Oh mate. Oh, look at the full body burns in this, man. And I think that lad has his jacket and he's trying to put his mate out. Look, that's great.
I'm assuming a lot of this cast were all stuntmen anyway, right? Because they're obviously perilously close to the fire,
and they don't have any dialogue. And then,
yeah.
So there's that awesome sort of like tracking shot of the parallax background. Oh, the one of Lance, and it just does this kind of mean face. The horse shot is coming.
That's what I mean. Yeah, the Wilford one is amazing.
That's that, which is like a GIF. Well, because I put Wilford Brimley on the thumbnail for this today, and like it was endless pictures of that, which are too low. I wanted to cut him out and put them, but it's too low resolution, so I just took the diabetes ad and put like the shot from that in it instead.
Yeah, this bit. Look at this. Woo! Here he goes. Yeah, look at that. It's just the fact he's holding his bow aloft.
The bow aloft, man. Like that's the most. Like as an actor, if you could just die and that's what you're remembered for.
I love Lance Henriksen's like, what?
You fucking what?
It's the sort of Michael Jackson in Earth thing, whatever, you know. And it's like,
come on.
Did you see that guy who basically did Earth? Is it Earth Song? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
But he did that in an actual tsunami, like standing on a roof, like in this flooded village, and he's doing the dance, and it's like literally blowing him around.
On Anton Deck's show on ITV or BBC or whatever it was, they parodied that when it came out, and they made their own version by holding two pieces of celery, and then the other one got a hairdryer and blew their hair back. Like that was because he's holding on to like trees, isn't he? Like
yeah.
All that fucking shit. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, Michael Jackson, lads.
It's fucking Michael Jackson, you bastard leg. Oh, no.
Lisa, it's your birthday. Happy
birthday, Lisa.
Fucking pies and
no, shaman, you bastard leg.
Craig David.
Oh dear.
Shaman, motherfucker. Whenever I see helicopter shots of people in helicopters, it's always so painfully obvious to me that the camera's just on the ground and they're on the ground and nothing's actually happening, and they just all pretend.
Dude, when you just shake that, of course, but the thing, it does work. It's like because Dawn of the Dead does that really well, I think, because there's quite extensive dialogue scenes in a helicopter. It's like, you're not going to just pay for fuel and danger to send a 35mm camera up with a helicopter. I saw some really. I've seen a few TikToks recently where someone sits on a motorbike and then they go really fast and it pans out and someone's just flapping their shirt and someone else just has a twig like this because it's such an easy thing to sell and it's one of the oldest gags in film. They've been doing that with stagecoaches since like the 1900s, the first decade of the 20th century.
It's where people put like laundry baskets on their head, and then it looks like they're looking out of a plane window. And stuff like that.
I love those. That's great.
The other thing they always do in helicopters in movies is often like have people having conversations in helicopters without headsets on, and it's like that's not how that works.
Dude, I've been in a helicopter. Fuck it. So have you, man. Like fuck a duck. No, you got to have the bloody. The thing image.
Not only have I been in a helicopter, I've been in Blofeld's helicopter, the exact one from Spectre, and you cannot hear shit. There is no way.
I didn't realise it was the exact one when you were
it was
when you were standing in for that coward Tom Hiddleston.
the assassination of
The assassination of Duncan Casey by the coward Tom Hiddleston.
something like that.
Yeah, well, all right.
Something or whatever. But I couldn't hear shit in that. It has the same tail number as the one that's in Spectre. It's the same helicopter.
Oh, there you go. I found that when watching Andy Sidaris movies, like one of the things is aircraft, and there's something called there is like a database of those aircraft. So if you search the serial numbers that you see on aircraft in films, you can find out the service record of that plane and if it's been, decommissioned and whatever. It's very interesting. Very interesting. See, this is great. This scene's amazing. Like again, the way the action is covered and just the dudes driving motorbikes inside the factory. It's pure. It's birds, pigeons coming out. This is pure John Woo. This shit.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's always that sort of like final battle thing, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. And just covering like really quite very wide lenses, quite often on cranes and stuff, just to cover, because that's something that I think is really important in a John Woo action scene. He introduces the kind of arena of battle, if you like.
Yes.
From wide lenses, so you get a very clear sense of the geography of the arena, and then you see what guns everybody's getting.
Yeah,
and then it's like, and away we go. Quite often, where the heroes hiding, and then off we go. Time for the fight. So you've been given an idea of where everybody is, what they're doing, and how they're going to move around the space. And then within that are all the kind of slow motion shots of things where bullets are accounted for, what every hit does. Who's dead, who's alive. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, it's a lost art definitely now in the kind of era of action. Benny Legend, Wing Kong Exchange beat me to it. Benny Legend said, "What's the Bond film when Blofeld flies into that chimney?" It's not quite like that, but For Your Eyes Only, as the Wing Kong Exchange rightly points out, second time For Your Eyes Only has come up in the live stream as an answer to a question.
FYEO.
Yeah.
There was a strip club called For Your Eyes Only in Southampton where I lived, and there were quite a few strip clubs because it was a port. And there were lots of scary sailors that hung around there. So we were like little skinny 20-year-olds and were too awkward to go into titty bars anyway. And if we did, we'd get had a shit kicked out of us by sailors. So that's I always think of FYEO because that was there.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't remember where exactly, but there's a few titty bars.
Pies only.
That's the one where Roger Moore does a comedy execution of Blofeld at the very beginning of the film, and then it kicks off.
Yeah, it's not actually Blofeld. Well, he's not credited as Blofeld because it was basically that's all part of the Kevin McClory lawsuit thing, which they weren't allowed to use Blofeld, so they put a
bald guy in a suit in a wheelchair.
They put their version of Blofeld in a wheelchair. So in other words, it was their way of saying, "Right, we're throwing him away now because you're such a petty twat." And it was like because it was their design of Blofeld. Effectively, was the bald. It was the Donald Pleasant's version of Blofeld that they just threw down. It was Mr. Bond.
Which film was Telly Savalas Blofeld in?
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Max von Sydow was in the off-brand.
Was in Never Say Never Again.
Okay. There you go. Quality John Woo talk.
I don't care what anyone says.
Those are the contrarian Bond films.
Actually, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is really good, and that's my favourite.
How about fuck off?
Needless to say,
the last laugh. No, fuck off. I don't think Blofeld's your forte.
Buckaroo.
What's the 70s? Telly Savalas. I suppose that was the 60s actually.
Safari jacket.
Wheelchairs, chimneys. Oh god.
Yes. Anyway.
I'm just checking the chat. Under a big head. Oh no.
A dragon's head. Sort of old, broken down carnival iconography in it. Something with Mardi Gras stuff, isn't it?
I just want to read out Benny Legend's content, which I haven't checked the context for. Just saying, Sheena Easton was a stone cold fox.
She sang For Your Eyes Only.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
I remember how quickly she turned her native Scotland against her by reappearing at a concert and doing an American accent. It's a very foolish idea. Very silly idea.
Haggis, am I right? Just cut to her getting kicked out of Scotland.
Into the North Sea. Oh, God.
Duncan is dead to me, says Turtle Flipper. I'm assuming that's due to my largely ambivalent attitude towards On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Steve Allen says Telly Savalas, Blofeld is a complete goon, followed by James Davison saying Telly Savalas is the best Blofeld. What drama in the comments! Such drama.
The divisiveness of Blofeld.
I see no one's going into bat for fucking your lad from Inglourious Bastards, whose name I've temporarily forgotten.
Oh, Christoph Waltz.
Christoph
Well,
Waltz.
he's like, yeah, he gets a load of crap. I mean, I think he sort of phoned that performance in a little bit. Maybe.
It's a shame because on
Not really.
paper, the stuff of Lance Henriksen on fire is incredible. It's
Yeah.
amazing, like huge flames, and also again as a performer, like that shot there, he's acting the screen, but the one before, he's just stone cold, just slowly turning around.
Yeah,
It's amazing. Look at all that, and the sheer amount of fire as well.
I mean, he's clearly got like gel in his hair and stuff like.
Oh,
flame
of course, he's
retardant
covered
gel.
in whatever they call it, that stuff.
Flame retardant gel, basically. Isn't it? But still, yeah, that's a hell of a thing to do to put yourself in. You know, when you're not a stuntman.
Yeah, that's why Lance is the shit, man.
That's another motif, isn't it, that we saw in T2. We talked about is people descending. So, like, you've kind of got there's hell on the floor, which is represented by fire, and you've got your angel descending from.
It's a John Woo loves to do that. People dropping down on wires and swinging into scenes, you know, and
Right.
that kind of like angelic thing. Because there's a very clear delineation of good and bad. And The Killer is a very good example of the grey area in the middle, perhaps, but. It's what I love about it is like it's super high concept cops and robbers, you know.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
the kind of baseline. Love that zoom in and he sees the reflection. Like fuck Blade Runner, that's the best reflection thing ever in film. Oh yes, the upside down pistol.
Upside down gun, yeah.
And he clang 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 clang. Beretta, the barrel, the rifle, Beretta. Dude, Van Damme, like even the someone said is Sven L. Thorson in this, and there he is, wearing an outrageous shirt.
He looks like a dirty shitter, I'll be honest.
Oh, Sven L. Thorson.
He looks like when he went down there, he farted a lot.
I'm not sure he's a dirty shitter, but I'm not going full Vosloo pellets. I think he just does a large, quite pungent loaf. Like a big loaf that comes out, and it does stink, but it's not like a toilet-destroying... I did recently hear, because Ivan's a big wrestling fan, apparently Andre the Giant was unable... I think I've said this before on the stream. Andre the Giant was unable to use a standard toilet and would shit in the bath wherever he went.
That's unpleasant.
the only correct answer. Yeah, the only correct answer. Yeah, because he couldn't sit on the toilet because he'd break him because it's so huge. I doubt he could even mount his rectum on the toilet.
Forget the arse, like the hole.
Just the hole. That's what. Yeah, it was larger. It was a larger gauge than a toilet seat. What gauge is your rectum?
There's an awkward bit of performance here from her. Look, where she's like, "Oh, we have to sell it." This is the thing of filmmaking. It's like that is what you get in a low budget film, where you have to sell a gag in one shot like that from a wider coverage.
And that's the thing is it is a very John Woo thing in that you get single takes containing quite a lot of action. It'd be like pyrotechnics or martial arts, or, gunplay, but then the performative stuff as well. Sometimes dialogue too. So and again, that was a great. He loves to go really wide when he doesn't really need to for that shot, but you see everything because you.
Well, you do, but my point is that I think as an actor, I would want more coverage of that because
of
it's
course,
hard to sell the beat. You know what I mean? Like she has to go through I'm just pretending that I don't have a gun, and now I have a gun, and it's like that's not a thing that sells well in a wide.
I'm absolutely saying that requires a lot from the actor. Yeah, like you're asking a lot of that actor because, I think, and that's probably a deficit. And he's like, I want it to look like this. It's fine, just do the pretending properly. And it's like, well, hold on. I've got to do a whole fucking bunch of shit here.
Yeah, exactly. That was another example, by the way, of getting kicked in the face and then getting kicked in the face about a second later. It's like,
the stuff in that's the Hobson Shaw, and this is the way these things have changed. And I'm certain, the way that's directed is a very competently directed action, but it's aimed at a kind of PG-13 or PG audience. So there's no blood, but there's loads of people just getting punched in the neck and bounced off of walls. And it's like dead, 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 paralysed, dead, choking, dead, paralysed, broken back.
We've talked about it, but we kind of they've walked it back a bit. This idea of sort of punching someone and they go flying into the wall behind them, all that sort of stuff. It's been walked back a bit, but yeah, in that the idea is it's like. You've got Dwayne Johnson picking people up and slamming them into tables, and it's like, breaking their back. Like that's.
Remember, I don't know the actor's name, but the actor that plays Jason Statham's sister. You know, she's locked in the glass
Vanessa
cell.
Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby, okay. She's locked in the glass cell with that one CIA guy, the little kind of dorky dude. And the idea is The Rock's having a conversation with his backhand and she decks him. And she, like, hooks the chair around his neck and, like, yanks it. And then and it's like, she's killed him 7 times. So she keeps, like, punching him in the neck and stuff.
She does a lot of that thing that kind of started with Black Widow in the mainstream, which is like those moves where you sort of climb up the guy, wrap your legs around him, swing around. It's like, that's such an impractical way of taking someone out. I mean, I get it, because if it's a, you know, a sort of 5-foot woman against a giant lumbering, you know, henchman, then I suppose you've got to throw your body weight into it a bit. But even still, it's like, is that really? I mean, I'm guessing that's a fighting style. I don't know. But,
yeah, I mean, it sort of seems to have blinked into existence in the last 10 years that everybody does. So I'm going to climb up, mostly from TikTok videos, as far as I can tell.
And by the way, I'd have to do that because I couldn't take on it. I'm not making, that's not a sexist comment. That, like, you know, small women can't beat up big dudes necessarily because they could kick them in the knackers.
Yes, yeah.
Or throw keys to them like Sarah Connor did.
Or for fans of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the Strawberry Basket, which is where Terry Crews gets punched in the testicles. It's quite funny. There's a bit there they do the back-to-back wall thing.
Yes.
So Arnold Vosloo. And the thing is, that's great, and it is a John Woo thing, but quite often it's used in John Woo movies where one of the best descriptions I've heard about a lot of John Woo's films is they're love stories between 2 straight men. And it's something that I think my film teacher said that, but then it's something that Hot Fuzz, they really, really, really lean into that with Nick and Danny. And Nick Frost keeps doing this thing where he looks at Simon Pegg's lips when he's talking, like he's going to kiss him and stuff. It's like a really great thing. Yeah. But in a John Woo movie, they're normally people on different sides of the law or different sides of a moral compass.
Right.
So when he divides the frame between those 2 people, it's visual storytelling in terms of their moral standards and their stance in society. Whereas when he does it with Arnold Vosloo and Van Damme, it's like, well, he's just bad. You know, there's no ambiguity to that or any kind of divide. There's a clear divide. In fact, if anything, it's black and white. It's a bit too black and white. And you draw.
Well, and then he does it again in Face Off against the mirror. You know,
yes.
It's just like, again, very on the nose, but whatever.
Well, again, I just find it quite interesting. It's not the first time it's happened, but as I understand it, like John Woo basically didn't speak English during Face Off, and they had translators and stuff on set for him. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I suppose he's probably had that script translated into Cantonese for him, and he understands clearly what's going on. But I think a lot of the nuance may be lost. I don't know. Something about Face Off doesn't work for me. Maybe I should watch it again. But this still has that kind of John Woo grime to it, and I think Face Off doesn't. It's a bit glossy. I don't know.
There's a flip that Van Damme does in here that I always thought I imagined, because it was like in our version of this that I saw, he like does a sort of jumps and pirouettes over himself and comes back down, and it is in certain versions of this, and it's not like in the TV version for some reason when this is on TV he doesn't do it.
Oh, interesting.
But it was the thing that I always thought I imagined, like in some sort of weird internal Billy Bullshitter type thing. But no, I think it is in it. Anyway, sorry, but yes, yeah, we should reevaluate Face Off together, because it's one I haven't watched.
I dare say it's on streaming. Stuart Patrick sent £5. You said that one already. Peter Carlier or Carlier, I'm not sure. Just tipped you £5. Thank you for keeping me occupied until Babe Station starts. I'm worried that we haven't looked at the chat. We haven't looked at the emails for a while. The PayPal. I'm sure it's fine. I just don't miss anybody out.
I'll check it now.
Cool. Cheers. Thank you very much, Peter. I assume that's a PayPal. That's a PayPal ting. That'll be a PayPal ting. You done?
A PayPal ting, you know.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay. I found it. It just said Peter Carlier sent you £5. Thank you very much. I'm saying Carlier because Jean-Claude's here. Could be Pete Carlier. Might be Carlier. Pete Carlier. He's here. He's in my heart.
Get out of my heart.
Now, this is a creative grenade kill, as I remember, isn't it? How he takes that lance.
Yes.
He puts it up his bum. He doesn't put it up his bum.
He drops it down his all of a sudden very large pants.
It's really. I mean, everyone's been wearing kind of zoot suit trousers the whole time, so maybe.
Just very quickly, Paul McCulloch sent us £20. Thank
Whoa,
you, Paul.
Paul! Thank you, Jesus
It's
Christ.
very sweet. My dad sent us £10. Thank
Hey,
you, Dad.
thank you.
Always gratefully received. I'm going to spend it on beer and drink it with you
Casey,
on your
Casey,
birthday, which
Casey the
is
senior.
on Tuesday. If we could give my dad a big happy birthday shout out.
Oh, it was
for
my
next
dad's
Tuesday.
birthday on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
They're the same age, aren't they, our dads?
Yeah,
My dad was just 78.
Tuesday.
Is your dad 78 on Tuesday?
No, 76. He'd be 76.
Oh, I'm wrong. My dad's 78. Okay.
Yeah.
My dad's older than your dad.
It could break him up.
I love it because when you get a certain age, the opposite's true. Isn't it?
Callum Young sent us £5 and Peter Carlier, as you pointed out.
Oh, we've missed a bunch. Thank you so much, everybody, for all of that.
Thank you very much
amazing.
indeed. But yes, we'll keep an eye on that. Don't worry, because there will be post-amble. So we
Post-amble, yes. This movie is. I just love how well it's so beautifully directed. I'm sorry.
It is. It really is.
Like all of this stuff, and like it's kind of hellish, and it's something John Woo does a lot, like flames and fire and stuff. It's quite. It's just fun to watch, man. And do you know what? I'm not sure I have never seen the director's cut of this. I'm not sure I want 20 more minutes. Could be wrong. Let me see it. Let me see it. I could be completely wrong. Let me see it. But I'm not sure I want 20 more minutes of this because it's just tight. You know, it's like a great little kind of one and done.
Yeah, I love that.
Barrel
Kicks the barrel towards it, exactly the flaming barrel. Yeah. And like Jean-Claude looks cool as shit, man. I mean, like, who else could look cool wearing a fucking wife beater, a mullet, and a pair of jeans?
Exactly.
You know,
I got so much respect for Van Damme. I just think he's someone who, because he got a big reputation for doing these insane, pretentious, rambling, coked up Belgian talk show things, and sort of making a prick of himself. And I don't know, man. He ate shit with so much dignity. I think all those stars had their shit eating phase. And I always put Schwarzenegger really low down the list in that, because he never got the same respect that Stallone and even JCVD did. I think the difference with Schwarzenegger is he'd kind of been through his, like, bearing in mind he had so many different careers and he was the top of his game in so many other ways. I think he probably had all that, but earlier on, and less in the public limelight, you know, but as a bodybuilder, you know, and all that kind of thing. And I think by the time he got to movies, it was like, you didn't. I mean, I'm sure he went through his arrogant phases. Don't get me wrong, but I think, he kind of had been used to that. Look how big his trousers. Grenade down the trousers. It's
that's good. 4 seconds. 4 seconds. I love Lance's look. Yeah, when he goes, oh.
He's trying to unscrew it as well.
I have to say, like, when we didn't we do this live? When we did the
fix it in post, yeah.
Yeah, we did live, and we put a fart noise in. Well, our former esteemed.
Yeah, hey, look, Oliver Harper is a good editor, and he did some fucking funny edits for that show.
Yeah.
Like he was Wilfred Brimley when he come out on the horse, he edited it so it goes diabetes. He did, man. He was on point that night. He did some funny shit for those edits. Wilfred. Oh, look, my heart, my diabetes. His insulin absorbed the bullet.
Don't break my heart.
What are we talking about? Wilfred Brimley, clearly the dirtiest of shitters of all.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't. Your tone suggests a deep moral objection. I don't know about
he looks
that.
like such a friendly grandfather.
I know. Hey, look, nice people can be dirty shitters. I don't think I don't think dirty shit is connected to morality.
He doesn't look unwell, though. He doesn't look unwell.
Doesn't he? Dude, you know he's 19 in The Thing, right? Like...
Yeah, well, maybe, but no, he just doesn't. I don't know. He doesn't look ill enough for me. You need that kind of jaundice, drained face. I think to be in. To
be fair, this is your thing. Like, I've rode the coattails. Like, I've got no business.
The coattails.
Well, that's the persistent meme, and the thing is, like, I like to think it's now a Val Verde thing, but it used to be from Oliver Harper's channel. But the one, if we're not big enough to have a meme, but if we do, it's Dirty Shitters, and it's from your world. It's from the world of Duncan Casey.
I'm not proud of that.
You should be. It's amazing. He's 85. I'm on his wiki because I knew he was getting on a bit. Bless him. He's 85. And he's still kicking, and he's one of those people I love that he's still kicking as well. Like that makes me happy.
So how old was he there then? He must have been in his 50s, I guess.
Just kind of bullshit maths. Yeah, 1993, so it's not quite 30 years old. So 50, late 50s. Yeah. And then in The Thing, that's 1981, and he was born in 1934. Well, that would put him at about 50-ish. So probably in his 60s in Hard Target. I'm doing bad maths.
Something like that. Oh yeah, he would have been 60 in 94. So
he's a national
59.
treasure for another country. He's a national treasure for America or the United States.
Yeah.
He's and one we envy. Love to have a Brimley. Can I have a Brimley?
Who would be our Brimley though? We got Brimleys. I'm sure we got Brimleys.
We got Brimleys. That sounds like piles. Oh, I don't fancy that, mate. I've got Brimleys.
I've got Brimleys.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Mind me, Brimleys.
I was up all last night trying to poke me Brimleys back in.
Michael Gambon, maybe Gambon. Ken Cranham, that ilk. They have a strong DS vibe about them. But
Ken Cranham is a frequent collaborator of our friends at Dead Mouse Films. Yeah,
and I'm a big fan of Ken Cranham. And I met
Ken Cranham's awesome.
I did Maleficent, and he was in Maleficent, and he's a funny fucker, man. He's a funny guy. I like him a lot. I like him, Gambon. They all have that kind of British Brimley thing. Maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it being Scottish in Cranham's case probably contributes to this kind of a country of dirty shitters, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, maybe.
And someone else. Oddly enough, you've got Wilford Brimley in this, and Ken Cranham's in Hot Fuzz. So there's that kind of.
There you go.
Tenuous John Woo connection, but one nonetheless. Well, there you go. That's Peter Carlier says, "Our Wilfred is Alf Garnett. He's got a Warren Mitchellness to him. I can kind of see it, But for Americans, that's oh god, what do they call Alf Garnett in America? Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker. All in the Family, Americans, is a remake of a British thing called Till Death Do Us Part. And basically Archie Bunker was Alf Garnett.
Right. I never saw it. I just remember the fatpie.com thing with the Destiny's Child.
Alf Garnett, shoes on my feet. Alf Garnett, rings that I've got. Alf Garnett, I depend on meat. Oh, rathergood.com, man. That was a wonderful period of the classical.
Oh, rathergood.com. That's it. Yeah, sorry. I think those things are all findable online now.
People have put them on YouTube.
Colin McLean, of course, is Alan Ford, which is a good shout.
As Alf Garnett? The National Treasure. Brimley. Sorry, yeah, the Brimley-esque people.
Brimley.
Oh, I could do my eyes like the woman. Look, when she sees a snake.
Yeah. You got to look down a bit though. It's because you go like that and you see the whites of her eye. The whites of her eye.
Not only does that hurt, but I find it sort of. I don't like to see my face do that.
That's that, but you remember her angle was what, like that. So she's
Duncan is seeing a different angle from the people.
Yeah, it's true. I'm seeing it from
camera one, camera two.
No, I don't mean your angle. I mean like her angle is in like on the shot. So to see the whites of her eyes when she's looking. Anyway, never mind. I'm just saying she looks like she's got big wide eyes because no, you're looking.
It looks good on the stream. It looks good on the stream.
Yeah, no, you got it on the stream. On my camera.
This is what you're all paying for. This is what. This is what Patreons.
We just dropped to 160.
We really dropped quite a lot when I do find it. I find it interesting. People do leave when the film ends, which I'm always like, fair. That's what you were here for.
You don't want to listen to us. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, particularly when we're talking about let's make our eyes look like the ladies' eyes. it's that quality OC you get from.
He's got Wilford Brimley. He's precocious, and he knows just what it takes to make moonshine.
Not enough. There aren't enough kind of R&B pop songs about Wilford Brimley.
He needs a medic. He's got Wilford Brimley. Yeah.
I mean, if Wilford Brimley is a diabetic, 85-year-old diabetic movie star, that to me is an advertisement for doing whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But these are the exceptions that prove the rule, rather than the rule itself, aren't they? I suppose. That's a diff.
The diff.
Look at me.
The differential.
I'm Judge Dredd. Look at me. I'm not. I've just got this badge. It just made a nice noise when I picked it up. I've just completely derailed the Wilford Brimley convo.
Is that the one I gave you? I can't remember.
No, I have many. Yours is in this drawer, I think. No, this is this one's from Termite Replicas. It's the Robin Smith modelled one. This is a comics one. You gave me a movie one.
Oh, that's right. I gave you. Yeah, supposedly that was when my makeup artist on Erica gave me that. I don't know why. She said basically it was made from. She said it was
one of the moulds for the movie.
Yeah, one of the original moulds for the movie. And I said, "Oh, my friend Richard would love that." But it wasn't like one of those things where I told her about you and so she went and got it. It was like she was just going to give it to me.
Yeah, it was. You were like, "Yeah, he's amazing. He's just the best YouTube man. He's got the shiniest head and the orangest beard, and you should give him all the stuff because you loves him. You do. You loves him." I don't know where I put it. I had a big tidy up and reorganisation, and I can't really open that drawer. Fascinating viewing for people at home. People go, you know what? What were you doing last night? Well, I was watching Val Verde broadcasting. Oh, what's that? Well, it's a channel on the internet where two people rent a film, not talk about it for 2 hours, and then one of them goes through a drawer, and quite often they talk about bums.
We are literally losing watchers like
dropping like flies. Can we get it below 100? Yeah. Can we get it below 100 just by being bad? Can we do that? It's part of the fun. Should we turn ourselves? Oh, Bernard Cribbins says Dan Lowles. Might be too nice to be a British Brimley. I don't know. Brimley seems nice. I love Bernard Cribbins. Bernard Cribbins that's a straight up national treasure. All about Cribbins.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Bernard Cribbins is? You fucking monster, dude! From the Carry On movies and Doctor Who and. It's Bernard Cribbins. He released music. Right, I'm cancelling the stream. Bye everyone. It's been fun. We're supposed to go on to 11. It's supposed to go on to 11, but I'm never working with Duncan again, and that starts now. I wonder how many people are going to leave. Wait, did anybody go when I said that? Oh God, it's 108. Wow, we're really killing it.
Well, it's because yeah.
It's because you don't blame it on me. Just because it's my fault. Just because it's my fault. Don't blame it on me.
Sorry, Callum Young sent us £5 as I mentioned earlier, but he also sent us a note that says, "Are you guys going to do more watch parties with the film playing along like with Fantastic Four last month?" Great comment.
Yeah, maybe we should. Maybe we should for a change. Because it means that nobody has to do legwork. It's just the issue with that, Callum, is finding things that are outside of copyright. Because we get in trouble if we do that.
Not only that, it's finding 3 to put to a vote in Patreon that is also the problem.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is we could include one in the Patreon vote, and if it gets voted, bully. If it doesn't,
true.
Night of Living Dead, in terms of like a credible film, comes to my mind. I quite like. I want to do Operation Little Brother, which Duncan is appalled by.
The thing is kryptonite.
I know, but the thing is that in terms of what you're allowed to do picture in picture, it's very limited, and it tends to be B movie kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, definitely. We still have designs on. Obviously, doing stuff with Brad and with Mark. Mark's long-awaited Jaws episode is around the corner. Probably in about 2 or 3 weeks. But we are going to do more stuff with Mark, and I still want to do still watch along Fistful of Lead, so that you've got kind of 2 perspectives then on the film.
It would be nice to do Fistful of Lead and do Night Shooters as well, because there's one that you're in, one that I'm in, right? That would be quite nice. I'm thinking technically it would be quite difficult, but I could get all 3 of us in. You guys might be crammed into one box, and I've got my own box that makes me look like some kind of egotistical prick, which is not. It's just I've found it. I've had to. Look. Here's a look behind the curtain. If you watch on the stream, you see Duncan is a Skype window, and I've made an MS Paint box. I made an MS Paint file that represents the size of Duncan's window, and I open that. So when Duncan comes on, I drag his Skype box into that coloured box, and then when the prompts go away. Our man Duncan's just floating there doing his thing, because I've tried doing it properly with NDI sources and stuff, and I can't get it to work. So yeah, I'm trying to make this slick as possible in terms of production value, but it's very much held together behind the scenes by sort of like bubblegum and tape. It's just sort of whatever the digital equivalent of bubblegum and tape is.
Richard is very good at bodging things, as all great directors, cinematographers, etc. are. You are very
the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, man.
I mean, sincerely, is that thinking on your feet, pulling things out your arse at the last minute. You're very, very good at making things work. So that is it's a deft skill. But that's what I think. I think that though gives everyone the false illusion that we have the means to make things.
It's very flattering to me when people are kind of like, you fucking. When we first started it off, there's people like, you fucking high rolling YouTube pricks, like you don't pay any tax, making all this money. It's like, we've got 900 subscribers. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah.
And some of the stuff early on was bad. Like, look bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some shit that we have earlier in the channel. Like, I'm glad we've got this big back catalogue now because it plays into us getting subscribers. But I'm also kind of like, oh god, I do this for a living and that looks terrible. But, and I won't make excuses for that.
But no. I think I would like to. I mean, I think we've had a nice uptick actually in the last sort of few weeks. But I definitely think. I hope that the back catalogue. What I suppose I'm a bit frustrated by with all this lockdown malarkey is that we haven't been able to kind of keep up our it ain't broke stuff or whatever that's going to be. But I think hopefully with your guys' help and everything, as long as if you guys can kind of where possible, whenever everyone says like, share and subscribe, and it's like, well, share is the bit about that I've always found a bit like I'm not going to go on my Facebook and share. You know what I mean? I'm going to look. These guys talk about poo and movies. It's like
what on your personal Facebook? You mean?
Yeah.
No, dude. Like I never I've got you have a Duncan Casey Facebook page and I have a Richard Jackson Facebook page, yeah, and I have a Richard Jackson. It's me on Facebook, but I have a page. Yeah. And like most people that follow my page are people from here. And some of my personal friends follow my page, so I put stuff like this on there. I never go on my personal Facebook page and go like, me and my friend are going to talk about Jaws and say poo 50 times. Like, I never. And also it feels weirdly self-promoting because I don't expect... I'm really flattered when my actual friends come and watch this stuff. So like my friends Will and Kirsty watched like one of our first ones since the lockdown. And I was really flattered that they did that. But I don't in any way expect... like my friends from real life to come.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's the whole self-serving thing of it. I mean, I'm bad at posting trailers for movies I'm in and stuff like that. I don't like doing that either, but I do it. I sometimes do, or I'll share it. But it's like, to ask some like a stranger or a subscriber to go off to their personal Facebook profile and share one of our videos to their entire like family, friends, and everything like that. It's like.
Yeah, we don't share it to our own friends. We're not going to make you.
Yeah.
Wing Kong Exchange comes to everything we do, watches all our stuff, comments all the time on Patreon. Fucking top tier Val Verdean. God Legend. Bless you. Just gave £6.50, thus demonstrating further loyalty to this dumb shit that we make. God love you. Who would I get to hunt for £6.50? I'm going to go straight in with Jasper Carrot. What's your suggestion, Logan?
For £6.50? Probably right now, Piers Morgan. I would have thought.
Oh shit! Well, yeah, I mean, he's really good at making everybody hate him.
He really is.
Because he's suddenly taken, let's say, a stance different to his prior one that made a lot of people hate him, and now he's got a stance that made a whole bunch of new people hate him. It's really impressive in a way. Joe Mitchell, another friend of the channel, he did ask a while back. I can't remember the exact wording because I'm pouring myself rum. He asked if you've ever thought about directing anything.
Directing? No, people ask me that quite a lot. I've not really. I produce and I obviously act in stuff. But the director's chair, firstly, I know far too many people such as yourself and Brad and Mark and
thanks for including me in that. That's really sweet.
No, but I mean, I know far too many people for whom that is your vocation and your skill set and your dream. And so for me, it's kind of like I would rather work with you guys as an actor and let you direct. But if I'm producing something, I would rather get someone in to direct it, even if I'm in it. I suppose if something came along and I was like, I just have to. That's my project and I have to do something with it. But I'm not, versed enough in setting up shots. I mean, I know that's a collaborative process anyway. You sit down with your DP and you go through shots, and it's like they're kind of in charge of that as well. But it's also your kind of vision, I suppose. But I just don't think I've ever really felt connected with that skill set.
I think you're very much an actor, by which I mean you're a no, I don't. But working with you, I just feel like you're really invested in your craft. You're not invested in the direct. You have to understand it because of what you do, but you're not invested in doing that. I think you're invested in being an actor and understanding the craft of an actor. Is my impression of you. I mean,
I have a sense. Don't get me wrong, I have a sense of well, it's exactly like you say. I have a sense of everyone's job, and I have a sense of what a director does, and I have a sense of screenwriting and I shot composition, because you have to know that as an actor, because you have to know your kind of place in the shot and what they're going for and all that stuff. So I don't know. I just don't have the drive to do it. I'm not. I'd rather be acting and stuff. Plus, it's a fucking hard job. Like if you're directing a feature film, no matter what level the budget is, you are on all day, every day, and it's a hard job. I mean, the Pierce Brosnan GoldenEye commentary that I watched had.
Sorry, did you watch the?
I did.
Pierce Brosnan. You did watch the. Okay. Wow.
He talked about didn't he talk about his son? I think was helping to man the sound stages or whatever, and he came in at 4 or 5 in the morning to open up. And Martin Campbell was already in there, running around the set, planning the day's shoot. And the guy's on from then till dawn till dusk, man.
The absolute opposite of that. Because I've been digging up my mini DV tapes. So those of you that have been on Patreon have seen my detritus that recently made Duncan watch. There's stuff on there. I made a documentary about stand-up comedy when I was in my second year, which I am kind of proud of, but I won't ever show anyone because it sucks. And we had a kind of stand-up comedy expert come and do an interview with us, and it didn't work in the studio because the studio of our uni was next to the main road, and it was a studio, but you could hear cars. So we had to do it in our house. And even then, it was a crew of 5 people and the subject, so 2 cameras, 3 lights, backdrops and stuff. I got up at 4 a.m. to studio the front room. So I got up at 4 a.m. and I'd gone and bought bin bags and duct tape from Asda. Blacked out everything, put up a black backdrop, set up all the lights in the camera. So when the rest of the guys, 3 of the crew lived in my house, and 1 lived in a different house. And he was coming at 9, and I needed everything ready for 9. So I got up at 4, went out and bought some mini DV tapes when Asda opened. And even as a scumfuck, no budget student documentary, I was up at 4 in the morning.
There you go.
So think about Martin Campbell running around the GoldenEye set,
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. It's one of those jobs where there just are not enough hours in the day to do it, and so you're constantly fighting fires. Brad Watson, I remember, because when I did Hallows Eve, I only had 1 day of principal photography, and that was the first day, and he seemed like he seemed like a
tyrant.
No, he was like
Sorry.
a figure of calm, and just he seemed really in control. I've said this to him before, but he seemed so on it. And then, but he said to me, he was tearing his hair out. He was utterly. That was probably the worst day of the shoot, because it was going wrong.
I can't imagine a stress because Brad is a calming influence.
Generally, unless he's drunk and you're at the BFI.
Oh, dude! Well,
and then oh
my god!
Oh my god! He's not a.
Oh my god! No, I love drunk
funny.
Brad as much as the next man, but working Brad or just Brad is
the
chill.
Next man is Mel Gibson.
Can I just want to very briefly dip into this is so as I talk about a lot. Dylan Teague follows this channel and he is a 2000 AD artist. That makes me very happy. Steve Allen has said, you may not know who Frank Whiteley is. He's a very storied. He illustrated All Star Superman.
Wow.
And oh god, yeah, he's top tier. He was started off in 2000 AD Joe Dredd, does DC stuff. Steve Allen says, and this is okay, good. I'm glad I hooked you on this. I've done with a few people. This is regards to our early conversation promoting this channel. By the way, Richard, I've been trying to get Frank Whiteley to watch your stuff because he loves most eschatological humour I've ever seen. So he's into I can, without even breaking my back, pull out Flex Mantello, and I've got probably, if I could be asked, I could pull out a bunch of. Oh, there you go. Got fucking JLA Earth 2 there. Get him to watch this bit if he's into shameless self-promotion, or indeed Sycophancy, which is what I've just done. But I'm a big fan of Frank. He's amazing. He's an incredible artist. Also,
it sums us up. It sums us up in. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, he's Scottish. That's all. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. as I say, it sums us up in a nutshell that the things you pull out, like you're pulling out, like these comics and talking to people who made them, and I'm sitting here showing watches and I don't know what else have I got on my desk.
You've got like a wife and a mortgage and a baby.
That's true.
I've got all these comics and some semen encrusted boxer shorts.
But which one of us is really?
I've got Christmas lights. Hey!
I've got some aftershave and a mug of pens.
I've got some aftershave.
I bet have you got more aftershave?
Yes, I have. The thing is, mine are sort of like
mine
are tacky ones. Mine are tacky ones, and you've got probably like nice ones for nice people.
Yeah, I've got what's this Chanel.
I've got this. Ford. I bought this for festivaling, which isn't going to happen this year. This is called Dry Shower. This brand Markov normally provide their product for cleaning bikes, but this is for cleaning humans, because the idea is when you've sweated your way to a place on your bike, use the dry shower. So use it to be less stinky at a festival.
Right.
I've also got some beard oil, a torch, and a figure of the late Run DMC DJ Jam Master J.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's
look at Richard and Duncan's shelf. 108. The numbers have gone back up, mate. People are into the shelf. What else you got? Get out.
Quick, more shelf.
Beard comb. A sewing kit I found when I cleaned out the house. A piece of HDMI. This Gillette Mac 3, which I've removed from the retail packaging because it is the last one, and it seems pointless to keep the last one in the retail packaging whilst it's waiting to replace the one on top of the shower, which I use to shave my head and sometimes my neck and sometimes these bits of my cheeks. 2,000 viewers. No.
The algorithm heard shelves.
I did drop a brand name. I said Gillette Mark 3. Very good for the dome, by the way. Someone asked about head shaving recently, and I think the Mark 3, it's a good head shaver.
Nice.
Because I very rarely cut myself on a tri-bladed razor.
Ian McGrath says, I love Sauvage.
Sauvage.
Yes, I had a bottle of that, but every bugger smelled of it, so I kind of stopped wearing it. Yeah.
Everyone smells like me. I can't seem to even notice people smelling like me.
It's a disconcerting feeling because it's obviously such a kind of where you feel like it's a personal thing. Obviously, people can go out and buy these things and do in their droves, but it sort of feels like a personal thing, and then you smell it on someone else and you go, no, I can't wear that now.
The times I smell like other people's perfumes or whatever is the two you should really notice are your girlfriend and your mum, and never the twain shall meet.
Right.
The two, right? Because it's like, women's perfume stuff. I don't really notice the smell on blokes, to be honest. I don't really know when.
Well, I guess because if you know it, if you own it or whatever, you can smell it.
I've never noticed my own aftershave on other blokes, though. I should get better at that. Because it's like wearing the same outfit, isn't it? Oh, I've got to go home. I've got to go home and stop it off.
Well, if you stand too close, it will be really unclear as to who smells of what. It's. Yeah.
Did I tell you about my mate Alex scamming aftershave off of Boots? That was off. Did I do this on the stream before? Oh, it was great. I did a thing like I ended up unexpectedly staying in Hackney at my mate Alex's house. He's one of my best friends. Like he was in the Ghost Pit 2 film. I ended up staying at his unexpectedly 2 or 3 years ago. And he was like, hey, look, since you're stuck in London, I'm meeting my friends from work tomorrow night. It's Saturday night. Come out with us in London, and we're going to have let me get you some clean clothes and that, and we'll do it. And I was like, oh, all right, sweet. I'm stuck. Fuck it. And he's got like a bunch of nice aftershaves, and he was like, do you want some aftershave? And I was like, oh, that'd be sweet. And he goes like, actually, don't worry about that. We'll sort it out at Boots. And I was like, you're going to buy some aftershave? He was like, Basically, what happened was we went to Liverpool Street, we went into Boots, and he just goes like, that one's nice, and we put it on and left.
Oh yeah, you rinse the testers.
It never even occurred to me as a cheapskate. It never occurred to me, and now I'm like, mate, I could just one I'd never buy. I could just.
Well, that's the beauty of them being in major sort of transport hubs, is you can essentially just spruce yourself up before you go.
Lots of staff just going like, you fucking scummers. Like,
you should see me. I'm bad though. I'll go into like the boutiques in Covent Garden and be like, and I'll come out like my wife does my wife's head in, but I'll come out smelling like a bloody potpourri, because I'll walk around and be like, and I'll spray it all over myself. I'll sort of be like, do I smell nice? And she's like, you smell like a duty-free lounge.
It's the thing.
But that's what I'm going for.
That's the thing of wearing more than one, isn't it? So you got one on each
I quite
wrist.
like that though.
One on each wrist and then one on the neck.
Yeah, no, I'll mix and match.
I could put one on my head. Smell the top of my head.
Mine end up here because basically I walk through that. Like, it's such a boring. Sorry, well, 111. That's not bad. I walk through that. Like, my aftershaves don't live here, but they end up here because I come in here after a shower and I'll be like, and I'll just dump them on the side. So that's why I have Tom Ford's Noir de Noir on my desk. I don't normally.
Man, I tell you what, this is something. A lot of things that people talk about getting through lockdown, and I don't know if you're feeling the same. People talk about getting through lockdown, and I'm sort of like, dude, like you've become self-employed basically, because some people have felt like Ivan, for example, still work from home. It's like you've just become self-employed. Like, you know, you're doing what I've been doing for 4 years or whatever. And one of the things is like, well, you really have to, like, you should have a shower and get dressed and put on aftershave and perfume, and I am a big believer in that, because I do think if I've got stuff to do, I do quite like scumming it in my pajamas and like just not having a shower till 4. There's a lot to be said for it. But,
no, I hate that.
Well, no, there's a lot to be said for it, man. There's a lot to be said for it. But if I want to do things properly and feel like I'm having a day and feel like I'm achieving something, the first thing I need to do, shower, deodorant, aftershave, clean outfit.
Yeah.
Because some days, I've got to be honest, when I'm really in the thick of it, like, which hasn't happened for a while because of stuff, but like normally my life is kind of like I do 1 or 2 days a week on location, and then my other 5 days, because, you know, time off happens when time off happens, my other 5 days are editing and post-production. And sometimes if I'm up till 4 in the morning on like a really tight deadline, and then I get up the next day at 9, I'll sit all day in my dressing gown working. Right, because it's just like there's no time to wash yourself and you're not going to see anybody, so fine. But if I'm facing a day at home where it's kind of like, oh, hey, I've got a bunch of stuff to do, I've got a list of things to do, I've got 4 different projects on, you know, they're due at the end of the week, not due tomorrow. Shave, in as much as I shave, clean outfit, aftershave. And it is weird because you're putting on aftershave for no one, but it...
No, it's for you though.
Yeah, well, it puts you in the right mindset, doesn't it? Because you smell fresh and like.
I don't buy things. I mean, I like my wife to like them, but I don't tend to buy things like aftershave and that kind of stuff for anyone but me. For the principle that, like, and that's why, because any of these things are meant to be enjoyed, and you're supposed to enjoy them. But, you know, it's the same thing with like watches and clothes and stuff. Yes, you know, you get ranking about it as a sort of expression of you, but it's also something you should enjoy. I always believe that, like, you know, I've had these discussions with TGV before and stuff like that, but it's like, you know, watches, like, why do we love watches? What is it about watches? Most people on the outside assume it's because you're a flash git who wants to sort of demonstrate how much money you've got, and that's not true. Like, I just appreciate them. I love them. I love having them around, and it's like, it's the same thing. So I usually get up at 6:30 every morning. I do my exercise. I get, you know, sometimes I'm not really eating breakfast at the moment. You know, I have my coffee. I get sorted, and then I work. And I always do it like that at the moment. And I'm lucky enough to have work. You know, I've got stuff to do. So, but I can't. Even the times when I haven't had work, I always get up and get showered, and I'll make sure I do some form of exercise in the day as well. Because otherwise, forget it. I just feel like crap.
That ain't me. Like, don't get me wrong. I put a lot of value on doing, like I've said, but to me, it's kind of half and half. Either I'm. Firstly, one of the reasons I got out of salaried work is because I can't do mornings. Like, as I've discussed with you, I don't sleep well, and I struggle to get to sleep. And if I have to get up quite often, I'll get up at 5 in the morning once or twice a week to go to London, but the rest is at home. It's once or twice a week, fine. Those other days, I would rather sleep till 10 or 11 because it's just I'd rather sleep to 10 when I'm not under society's rules of, like, I'm not trying to act like a renegade, but, you know, society has this 9 to 5 mentality. If I'm removed from that, I'm far more productive, and I will happily wake up at 11, not start work till 12, and then work till 10 at night, do a 10-hour day, but I could do whatever I want.
You're much more of a night owl though than I am, aren't you?
Oh god, yeah. I'll go. Yeah. Like, I'm not one for. I'm always that guy. Like, when I was young and we used to have house parties, I was always the one that stayed up all night. You know, because I'm just more like that, and I'd rather sleep in the morning. It's just the way I am. Even though I used to be a paper boy and a breakfast chef and a receptionist, like, I just can't do it anymore. And like, setting my own hours was, firstly, like, self-employment was about my passion. Because it's turning my passion into work, into money, which is great. But the other thing is setting your own hours. Like,
Yeah.
because don't get me wrong, like every time you're on set or location, like on a call sheet, you're normally there fucking early. Like, you know, but it's not every day of my life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
same
can
here.
then, you know, whatever.
I typically get very ill after a shoot. I did like after Fistful of Lead. I started to get it towards the end, but I got really sick after that. But I didn't mind. You know, it was. But it's one of those things that I just know it's happening because it is that thing of you're up all day, you're on your feet all day, you're rushing around. Especially at that point, it was freezing cold everywhere and dank and miserable. But it was like, but that's just part of the deal because you do put yourself through a lot of strain to get those sorts of things done. But you get to go back to it, and then you go home and.
There's the difference between what you and I do, because I have acted, right? Acted in the like I've been an extra in scenes where I've been required for a bunch of stuff, but I've not acted. But I've acted. I've technically acted, is what I'm trying to say. And there is a fuck of a lot of getting up early and then waiting around. You know, waiting around, and then when you're needed, you have to do everything.
Yeah.
But doing camera stuff and whatnot, like the amount of times where when I've been like DOP or whatever, you're needed for everything all day. And I'm not, you know, when you're Robert Llewellyn playing Crichton, and you have to get up at 2 a.m, 40 years ago, or whatever. Like, but it's not as bad as that. But you're still rolling out at 5:30 with a fucking Red Bull, and also something I found as well doing kind of DOP, but also when I've done broadcast camera operator. It's just on your feet, man. Like there's some places give you a chair, but like just being on your feet.
That's the hard bit. Yeah. And also, you know, it's the mental concentration that you have to put yourself through. I mean, I you know, these are marathons a lot of the times, and you know, the different. I mean, actors don't have to be on set all the time, but like you say, we have to be ready to go, and there won't be any prior warning. It's like, okay, you're needed on set now. And you have to have, and you also, I'll do this. If I have a trailer or a dressing room or wherever, I'll be in there, but like pacing the floor, doing my lines, drilling my lines. I'll then have a rest for a bit, then I'll go back and drill my lines and drill my lines and drill my lines. If the other actors are amenable, I'll sit around with them and do lines because, you know, you've got to be on, you've got to be ready, you've got to once you're on set because you guys are all sat there like you've all been. Like you say, it's not just the
fucking actor pricks.
You're not just on set concentrating. It's the fact that you're probably crouching in some unimaginably horrible position just to get the shot. You've probably got to lift a load of heavy gear and lighting boxes around, you know. And then we have to show up and get it, and we have to nail it, and we have to be prepared, you know. And that's so it isn't just. It is a bit of hurry up and wait. I think if you're like an extra, or if you're, you know, often the image of the film industry is you just sit around for ages and then you go and do something. And it's like actors and everyone else. It's not quite like that because there's so much you've got to be prepared and ready to.
There's a different onus, I think.
Deliver. Yeah.
You know, sounds rude. It's a different. The pressure points are different, perhaps. I think that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. So this is the thing. Like, because I view my job as being immensely physical, right? And particularly there are certain jobs where I will happily do a 14-hour day as camera operator or whatever, but fuck me, is it knackering? Like, oh my god. But then if you are, for example, I'll go back to Daniel Craig, I'll slash my wrists, you know, it's like, yeah, because he was getting blown up and punched and like, you know, and he was the main character, so he's on camera all day every day, like in second unit, like are probably covering a lot of the lesser stuff.
But again, that got taken so out of context. That was
one
of those things.
It did, because it's a sensational headline, isn't it?
And it's misreported now, though. It's what annoys me. It's like it's misreported even now, like 5 years on, or whenever you said it. It was like, oh, reluctantly he was brought back. It's like he didn't. For fuck's sake. It really, you know. But then there's always sensation.
Dude, what that cunt goes through. It's sort of again like I'm sort of sympathetic to Christian Bale and that DOP Terminator Salvation thing. It's kind of like, you know, I get it. Like, it sucks for the DOP as well, but like, at least like,
it's unprofessional. But I do understand that, like, if you're especially if you're like Bale and you prepare like you do, I don't know that much preparation went into that role other than the Batman voice and shave my head.
Yes.
But nevertheless, to give him his due, he's someone who takes his job very seriously, and then to have someone else being disrespectful like that, you know, bearing in mind that during action and cut, it's you that are it's your job now. there shouldn't be anything else going on until cut's called, and then you can do work, you know. So fair play to him, you know. Captain Meets Adventure says, Duncan, are you like Leonardo in the dressing room in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I don't know, because I haven't seen it.
Oh,
so.
have you not? Oh, that's
No.
some of the best stuff. Like, just a brief, I think I talked about this when I come back from abroad. Like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a number of really good short films padded out by indulgent crap. And, like, one of the good short films is so Leonardo DiCaprio is playing a kind of a journeyman actor who never quite made it, who's working on a Western show, and there's a really amazing scene where he has a kind of breakdown in his trailer.
Okay.
And it's really amazing, and it's like, yeah, if that was a 20-minute short, I'd think that was amazing, but the fact I've had to sit through 3 hours of essentially a foot fetishist having a wank, you know,
right.
I make my thoughts clear about Tarantino. But it's a really amazing scene. It's basically about the actor sort of having a breakdown and stuff is what that is.
Oh, okay.
If that helps in
no.
any way.
No, I don't think I've ever had a breakdown in a trailer.
No, you're not like that. Duncan's you're steady, man. You're a steady Eddie in a good way. You're reliable, man. No, dude. This cunt turns up on time and everything. It's pretty.
Well, I do my best.
You know.
I do,
my
but
best.
you know, it's. I feel at the moment I just feel kind of out of the loop. But it's really frustrating. I haven't been on. I've done a few auditions and stuff, and there's things in the air waiting, hopefully to land. But I'm just like, I want to get back on a set and get working again. That's frustrating.
Yeah, tell me about it, man. It's been a frustrating couple of months.
That was what I was going to add to the whole discussion when you were talking about what a typical day is like and why it's knackering. There's not only the thing that not a lot of people talk about is there's the early start and having to work all 14-hour days or whatever. But then it's the fact that the type of atmosphere that a set is, even in the sort of day-to-dayness of it, is still a very heightened one in terms of excitement and energy and what's going on. And that's one of the things that you love about it. But it's the wind down at the end of each day that I struggle with. So it's like you try and wind down at the end of the day. It takes you ages to wind down and then go to sleep. And then the point at which you go to sleep, you get such late nights. That's what I was going to say. So at the end of it, it's like trying to sleep and then turn around and come back for sort of 4 a.m. It's
okay.
Visual. That was what I was going to add.
Okay, it's right. So for my side, the behind the camera side, like it's not quite the same. Like I did my second biggest job last year was a big shoot I did in London for some intellectual property lawyers, and we were on for 6 days straight, and every day was about 7 or 8 a.m. till on average anywhere between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. So anywhere between 12 and 16-hour days, and a lot of what you do at the end is de-rigging. And like when you're de-rigging, you know you're done. De-rigging is taking everything down. It's like what I'm going to do when this finishes. It's taking everything down, putting it in your bag, and and you don't always de-rig actually. To be fair, sometimes they're left in situ, but whatever. I generally find because of the physicality of the work and because there's less of that kind of maybe emotional energy, it's the physical energy. You're just done. And then when you get the days you finish at 10, you go out for a beer because every other night you're going to be up till 2. So you might as well get 3 or 4 hours drinking in. Whatever. But like you are so tired if you've been drinking or not, and that is kind of a joke. What you do in my role is just go to bed. You just go to bed, and sometimes it's not just de-rigging, you have to prep for the next day, but you're so tired you just go bang and you sleep. And that's
right. Yeah,
so.
I mean part of the I learned not to sort of drink on school days, even though I used to do it, and especially when I quite often when I was shooting things in like anywhere around London, bless them, my wonderful aunt and uncle would have me to stay because they live in South London, and very, very sweet and generous people, and I would always come back and they would have food ready for me and a beer and all that, and they're wonderful company, and I would sit, and we love sitting around drinking and chatting, but I think I got burned out on that a few times because I was just like and then I went to bed, you try to go to sleep and you can't. So it's one of those weird things where you're kind of like you're physically tired, you can feel the physical tiredness, but I have to say I'm fistful of lead though. We were up in a cabin in the woods in deepest, darkest sheep
the way
bum
it
hole,
should be done,
Wales.
The Sam Raimi approach.
It was, yeah. We had to keep feeding the meter with pound coins and stuff. It was that kind of place. It was really great though, and we were up there, and I just remember, it was one of those things as well, because all these cabins were next to each other, so you could hear people in other cabins getting into bed, and we were sharing them and stuff like that. But even then, I was just kind of like, I would just get into bed and just pass out.
I do find, particularly because I crewed a few jobs last year, and I've been crew on a job, and it's not just, this goes back to even when I worked in hotels and stuff. But when I crew a job, there's also the morale element of when we've done something and we've got a bit of time, and I hate to say this, it's normally a bunch of blokes. It isn't exclusively, but it's often a bunch of blokes. It's just like, ooh, lads, but that shouldn't make a difference. Getting everyone in, buying everybody beers, even if it's not going to the pub necessarily, it's getting someone to go around Tesco and buy a few tins so we can all have a beer and decompress after shoot and then go to bed, or ordering pizza. There was a big job I did last year where I didn't have to, but I took everyone out for curry. I dropped a bunch of money on getting everyone a curry because we'd been working our fucking asses off. Beer comes with curry, but I had to take everyone and sit down. We all sat around, still gross and sweaty, and just had our curry, just so we can be human for a bit. Yeah, and then get off to bed.
That's important, man. That is important. I've had a few jobs like that. They did that on Erica at one point. I can't remember what it was. It was the last shoot of the week, the last day of the week or whatever. So we had the next day off. Everyone had the next day off, so they brought a load of trugs, those rubber buckets, and filled them with ice and beer and everything. We all kind of sat around, which was cool. And then I think they did that. I remember I did a Harvey's furniture advert in Manchester. We all stayed in I don't think it was a Premier Inn, but it was like that. And it had a bar and a restaurant attached to it and stuff like that. So we just would go in there, and they would buy everyone dinner and stuff at the end of the day, because it was a sort of 3 or 4 day shoot, and we'd all just sit around drinking far too much beer.
Dude, man, the multi days, because you've got to have some. Because I know the temptation is the rap party thing, but I think just to sort of keep a bit of oxygen in the room by, making particularly when you do really intense long days, it's kind of I know we don't have much. If you want to go to sleep now, go to sleep. But some of us are going to eat some pizza and have a couple of beers before bed. As a hire, I've had that done for me and I loved it. So when I crew a job, I'll always offer it, and they don't have to join in if they don't want, but I'll always offer it.
That's good, man.
Because I just think I learned that from the hotel days, man. When you've had a shit day, just to show a bit of compassion. The fact that it's tax deductible is neither here nor... No, it's not.
Well, fine. No, that's great. That's really good, yeah. Because a lot of people who wouldn't do that, they're like, fuck off.
Well, I think it's important. And if you want these people to... My view of management has always been, look after me and I'll look after you. Yeah. And it cuts both ways. Look after me, I'll look after you. Because if some manager treats me like shit, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about your job. Give me my money. You know what I mean? Whereas if they look after you, I don't know.
No, you're right. I think you're absolutely right. It's very smart.
Sam Montgomery asks, guys, would you rather have a terrible plot with great characters or a great plot with terrible characters? I think those are both bad. There's a binary there, where those both suck.
Bit of a Hobson's choice there. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think. I kind of think. Well, it's sort of like great plot, terrible characters. I'm sure there's some great B movies where they just clip along and you don't care about the characters. But then it's kind of the other thing where I suppose if you have terrible characters but a great plot, you're compelled by they're two very extreme things. I don't
think you can actually do that. I think you would struggle to sit down and write something. The plot can't be good.
That does imply. But make these characters terrible.
Well, exactly. The plot can't technically be good because it's the characters who really are telling you the plot. It's I suppose if it was good characters, terrible plot, that would imply lots of exposition going on from the characters. But then that's just bad writing. I think you sort of managed to separate the curds and the whey there, but actually it's writing. Those are both writing. There's no
excellent dairy analogy.
Thanks. I saw Nadia Hussein made homemade butter by simply whisking milk.
What?
Or cream.
No.
Cream. Cream.
That's just whipped cream. That's whipped cream. You can't put that on toast, you mad bitch. What are you doing?
You go beyond. I was like, oh my god, because you just keep going. Go past the whip
Just keep going. I love that. No, don't. 88 miles per hour, Marty. And then you get butter.
You get butter.
How long did it take? Did you see it in real time?
Not that long. Yeah. She's just keep going, and eventually, once you go past the whip phase, it just starts to separate out, and then you can you get a muslin cloth and squeeze it, and you get butter.
Wow.
It's homemade butter. Yeah.
Are you going to do it?
No, just buy butter.
No,
it's just cheap.
Just buy butter!
Fucking
There's just been a massive global period of hardship where every cunt with an oven's making bread. You going to make it? No, I'm not an idiot.
I've made bread before. We used to make bread, but
12 weeks ago, everyone was fucking 5 minutes away from wiping their ass on a sock. But Duncan Casey's not making his own butter. To be fair, if
I can buy cream,
dude, I'm just
butter.
I would never make my own butter. I'm not mental. I was doing a bit of devil's advocate there for fun. My attitude is your attitude. It's like, no, I just buy butter. Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to throw out the central heating and just have a fire in the living room. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, that's one of those things where it's like, yes, I know I can do that, but that requires, like, more stuff to make the same thing as just buying a pat of butter.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like making your own stock by boiling bones. It's like, oh, yeah, why don't I die of bubonic plague while I'm at it? Like, I mean, I could, you know. I think I've mostly avoided that kind of stuff in lockdown. I made my own garlic butter, my own garlic butter with parsley to make my garlic bread, but I did that before. Yeah, I think I made a very good facsimile McDonald's because I am scum. It's like, but my facsimile McDonald's was very good. I mean, I was impressed. I know I made it, but I was impressed.
I made burgers the other night. I make my own burgers, and then we got some brioche buns and toast the inside, and then you put in. It's good.
That's the thing, because the McDonald's buns for the cheeseburgers, not the quarter pounders and the Big Macs, are basically brioche buns.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do like to make my own burgers. Like, I scum fast food burgers, but I like to make my own actual burgers as well. When I can be fucked, which is not now. I used to make chicken balti, which takes about 3 hours, which I cannot be fucked to do at the moment.
I tend to make. I've moved on. I do like making a curry. My dad loves a curry, and he and I used to make curries together, and I carried on that great tradition. But my wife is not into the spicy food, so I tend to. But I do make a good thing. I've gotten into recently is a Thai curry. So But one thing I found recently, this is really boring. But I get me garlic, me ginger, and me onion, and I put them in tinfoil, and I roast them in the oven first, and then I put them in the food processor.
Oh, jolly good! Ooh.
Kaffir lime leaves, the powder, the cumin, all the spices.
Make your own curry paste, basically.
Make your own curry paste, and then some oil and lime juice and like soy sauce. Blend it all up. And then you basically just that's your own curry paste, and then it's roasting the garlic and everything makes a big difference. Anyway, sorry.
No, that sounds great, man. I'm all about that. That sounds
really good. Yeah, well, I'll make it when you're allowed to come over again. I'll make it for you. It's really nice. I don't make it hot because the wife hates the hot.
If she's not about and you want to, I love a hot curry. Like
when she's not looking.
If she's not looking, yeah. She's looking at the dog. Make a hot curry, quick.
One good thing about that though is that I can make that. Sorry, it's boring for everyone. And then make her a separate portion. It's quite easy to do because you just separate off some of the paste, and then I can put chili in and then blend it up again. So we will do it. We'll do it.
Oh, definitely. So I do miss like me, you, Brad, Mark, me, you, Brad. I've done that. Those 4 people. I've done. I think every combination of Let's Have a Curry.
Yes.
And I miss out at a curry house. Fucking, it's not the same. Like, do you know, ordering curry in has never been the same as going into a curry house and having a curry. It ain't. Like, making it at home, and making it at home is lovely because you made it yourself. When you order it in, it's kind of like, this is all sweaty and wrong. I know it's technically exactly the same thing from the same pots in the same restaurant, made by the same people, but it's not as good. I want a hot towel on my face and all that.
I do love that. It's nice. Brad is excellent curry company as well. Oh, you must come, because last time Brad was here, we went to the Gurkha Lounge, which is the one that we meant to go to last time you were here. There's 2 where I live. Okay. One's a shitty, sweaty nuts place, and the other one is
was still very quite nice though. When we...
I didn't like it, but anyway, it was all right. But the one down in it's very nice, and we went there. It's a bit pricey. But then that's because Brad and I tend to go in the curry house and go, yep.
Oh, but that's the fun of a curry house.
Yeah.
Because even in a curry house, even ordering one of everything is still quite cheap. Like, if you get enough for a human to maintain sustenance, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah, true.
But you're not going to do that because you're drunk, so you're going to get 12 poppadoms and 15 samosas and a bunch of bhajis, and it's still only 35 quid, and it's like, for a night out, that's very good.
Yeah, no, it was alright. Yeah, I don't think it was, I can't remember what we spent. We drank a lot, because basically that was our pub for the night. We were there till we got kicked out. They were closing, and we were just still there ordering beers and stuff. So it was, it's good times. It was a shame I think you couldn't make it, wasn't you?
Yeah, I was working, I think.
Did invite you.
No, I remember. I remember very well.
I think you were busy or something. I don't recall. You're like, I don't remember that. Anyway,
no, I do actually remember that, and I think I was working or something anyway.
Yeah.
I just think you're a cunt. Someone called Abstract Drums, who has a Watchman avatar, has sent us £5. Barrel. Has sent us £5. I've never heard of Abstract Drums before, and Abstract Drums sent us a super chat, and that's really cool because I do.
Thank you.
You know, there are 100 and something people in the chat usually, and they don't all comment. And Abstract Drums has not merely commented, but has also given a super chat. So that's really cool. Thank you. So I was eyeing Abstract Drums, your super chat, whilst discussing curry. He says, or he or she says, Richard, have you seen Salute of the Jugger / Blood of Heroes starring Rutger Hauer, written by David Peoples? I have not. I've not even heard of that film, in actual fact. So no, I have not. Tell me more. Please tell me more. I'm going to check the chat a little bit because there was a lot of curry talk.
Yeah.
Rutger Hauer with Joan Chen is in that, it seems. Chicken Tikka Boona says, Ross, I'm back to the curry talk.
That's
David Bobson.
That's the preferred choice of Mr. Brad Watson. Yeah,
I'm a Parthia, which is a kind of, you don't see it often, but that's like the Indian sweet and sour. Oh my god. Or a jalfrezi. Love a jalfrezi with all them chilies. Oh my
I love
god.
a jalfrezi.
My anus doesn't, but I do.
Yeah, you've got those jalfrezi. I love a dansak as well, and I make a good dansak. Things I learned to make them, and I'm like, I prefer mine. But the jalfrezi is a risky one because it can be insanely
Dude,
hot.
there are jalfrezis and there are jalfrezis, right? Like this, because you get those ones where it looks like it's all in loads of green beans, and it's no, dude, you have to eat 70 chilies. You have to eat 70 because sometimes sauce. Sometimes there's little slices of chili. Sometimes that's just a pile of chilies with a bit of gravy on it and some chicken.
Yeah. I had the worst because I used to order jalfrezis all the time. I said I most think, no, they're not that bad. They were hot. They were just the right amount of hot for me. They're, decent. And then I had one with some mates. We got a takeaway, and I'm not kidding. After 2 mouthfuls, I was just dead. I was like, I can't take this. And I tried to force it down because his mum had bought it for us, bless her. And the next day I had the Ring of Fire. I'd never ever experienced that before.
And the Ring of Fire. Yeah. The thing is, I don't know how I'm quite invested in this curry talk actually, because I think there's a weird subculture of curry stuff. Like, I'm not a Chinese guy. Well, clearly I'm not a Chinese guy, but I'm not a Chinese guy. But I've always been a curry guy. That's my bag. And I think like when you live in a place, you know the curries. Like you know the curries around about. Like there was the Golden Curry on Mill Road. That was my local for years. The Golden Curry's turned into like a wanky pizza place. When it's a hipster coffee house, it's where I did my taxes a couple of months ago. But I was texting Duncan pictures of my receipts because I was just like, I'm going mad. That was a Golden Curry. Golden Curry was the best curry in Cambridge, I'd say. But now there's a Curry Queen instead. Curry Queen has a great Parthia, like a beautiful Parthia, really nice. But the curry, I can't remember what they call it now, on Castle Hill. That's where the man just comes with a bucket of chilies and a brown Sharpie and then just puts it on your plate with some cooked chicken and goes, eat that, you pussy. And, you want to save face, but also you want to have a meal, so you sit and eat all of it and then just
The Maharaja, wasn't it? Isn't
Maharaja, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's called that anymore. I think like now it's got a weird leisure centre name, like the Cambridge Curry Quorum or something. It's stupid. It's got like a stupid name, but your local, So you got your man on top of Cherrington Road. Can't remember what that's called right now, but he got in trouble in the late 90s for selling Happy Shopper vodka as Smirnoff and lost his licence. So now it's Cambridge's premier bring your own booze curry, which is like going down Brick Lane. You've been down Brick Lane for a curry?
Yes. Well, from a stall, not from a curry house necessarily.
Mate, if you go down Brick Lane in London is where BBC Television Centre was. Like Brick Lane is a place in London if you're not from Britain.
In the east.
Brick Lane, it has like 90 curry places and it's like the dueling banjos of curry, and it's like this curry arms race where all of them have a man that stands outside and makes you. He wants you to come into his curry house. So because I went with some Londoners the first time I went, like 10, 12 years ago. I was just like, what is this? He makes you choose his deal. They all bring your own booze firstly, and there's a bunch of offies round about, so you go down at Offie and get your drink, as much drink as you want. And then the guy on the door gives you a deal, and you got to get the best deal. And then the other guy will come out from across the road and go like, no, you got to come to this deal. And you choose one, and then you have to remember the deal the guy gave you, because when you're in the curry place, they'll try and charge you the menu price, but then you have to say like the name of the guy outside. He gave me the deal, and then they have to go like, and give you because what they do is they hope you're too drunk to remember the Brick Lane deal, but you have to go inside. Oh, dude,
it's like never paying full price in Bella Italia or ZZ or Pizza Express ever again.
The Groupon kind of.
You've always got a voucher cloud ready to go. Yeah. No, that sounds pretty cool. I'm just checking the chat. We are down to 100 and we've run over time a bit, but I shouldn't. That's Stephen Allen talking to Floyd Dillon, so maybe I ought not to interject. But he says, "Have you seen David Ayres trying so hard to talk about the release the Ayres cut of Suicide?"
But no
one cares.
There's been a lot of buzz about that, though. I mean, I'm sure it's better. I don't know how much better, but it must be better.
It's like the Snyder Cut business. I really can't be bothered to investigate it particularly. It doesn't. I mean, it's happening, right?
It's absolutely happening on HBO Max. I'd be interested to watch it, but it's like, did you? All right, look, we all saw Batman vs Superman. That was, and the thing is, like, today. I know you watch Mr. Sunday movies, don't you? I don't know if you watched today's one.
Not religiously. No, I didn't watch today's one. But I do like it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, those guys did. They did a video today about releasing Snyder Cut, and Mr. Sunday movies very astutely said, you know, that's not going to be the film he was going to release. Yeah. Because A, it wasn't completed, and B, you know, he's been affected by 4 years of chatter, and C, they have to assemble it from table scraps, and D, they're limited by a $30 million budget. So I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to be close, you know. But I tell you what, this ain't over. That ain't it. Like, it's not done. Like now they're going to get, people are going to either A, have to put a brave face in it like the Phantom Menace, or there's been a bunch of people who are going to be like, but release the real Snyder Cut, because there's this moronic assumption that there's 12 film cans of a completed 35mm version of the Snyder Cut that's in a vault somewhere, which there isn't. That's not how this works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it always astounds me that they're like, "Oh, we're just going to spend $30 million on
just $30 million, just $30 million." You know,
it's not quite the same thing as what happened with the Donna Cut, because that obviously was a lot later.
That was years later, and there was less of it. There was no social media.
Yeah.
Man, they're just Duncan. All they're doing is spending enough money for me, you, everyone in this chat, and their families to live a comfortable life until they die. On making a version of a film to please people on the internet. Another thing, because I these are very broad points, but Mr. Sunday Movies said them, and I watched the video, so I have a moral obligation to then say that I watched it on this video. Yeah. Part of that situation really only exists because of COVID-19, because Warner's own HBO. They're trying to launch HBO Max. They've, the dust has settled business-wise on Justice League 4 years ago. So they're going to put $30 million into the Zack Snyder Justice League, which there's clearly a thirst for, rightly or wrongly. And they're going to make it into like 6 episodes, so it spans out over 2 months worth of subscriptions. They would never have done this as a theatrical, or even perhaps a DVD release, as a streaming thing, as a thing to sell the new streaming service. Because when Disney comes out, they go, "We've got Marvel."
Yeah.
And there are all the other services have their thing, like CBS All Access has Star Trek. Blah blah blah. HBO is going to go, "We've got the Snyder Cut." That's their ace.
It's not much of an ace, though, is it? Really?
Not really, but a bunch of twats want it. So let's just.
Did you say they're going to release it in bits over?
Oh, dude, yeah, no, it's being released. It seems to be that it's not going to be released as a 4-hour hit. It's going to be like 6 45-minute episodes or 4 1-hour episodes or.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. Because no one would ever release a 4-hour theatrical film, so now we're going to turn that indulgence into a 6-part mini-series on streaming for the benefit of a bunch of babies on Twitter. Brilliant. Brilliant. And dude, and come on, man, like, oh, I don't know. Like 4 people really love BVS, and they're all going to fucking go and watch it. But I don't know. I'm just saying. No one just says anything. I hate the phrase "I'm just saying" because no one just says anything.
No.
But I'm just saying. Sorry. Apologies. Is it time to end this?
I think it's time for your cocoa in bed.
Yeah, no such thing. But yes.
Coked cane.
Yes, it's Colombian style coked cane. I'm not Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm not going to give myself a premature heart attack. I'm not going to pretend that I have the kind of budget for cocaine. Rum and lemonade, yes, absolutely. Adrian says, I just got to say, Duncan, because I'm a big fan of this. Adrian says, in the dying minutes of the stream, hashtag car sausage. That's a wonderful callback from last week. That's great lifetime catalogue.
Car sausage. I saw another example of a thing like that, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. It was something. I know what it was. So we went round and saw my best friend Jimmy and his wife are literally probably having a baby either right now or very soon to be.
And Duncan Casey's on the stream. God bless him.
What?
You're on the stream during your friend's baby.
Oh well, I can't be there. It's unfortunate. I mean, sadly at the moment he can't even be there because this is how silly it is. He's not allowed to be there until she's 4 centimetres dilated. Then he can be in the room, and then he's only allowed to be there. Is that
the COVID?
Yeah, and then he's only allowed to be there for 2 hours after the birth, and he has to fuck off. And that's harsh, and it's pointless, because it's like, well, if he can be there at all, he can spread the virus. And they live together, so presumably whatever she's got.
When they send the baby home and...
It's like, I just don't understand. You know, anyway, but whatever. So yes, bless him, he's in that. But we socially distanced, went round there to pick up some stuff, and coked cane it was, and it was
but for the baby,
formula, and they were showing us one of these things is like they call it like a pregnancy ball, and it's basically designed so that when you get quite late on in pregnancy, you sit on it and then you can bounce on it, and it helps.
Oh sure, I had that for my leg physio.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's a fucking exercise ball. It's exactly the same thing, but it's called a pregnancy ball, and they sell it as such. That's the car sausage in a nutshell. It's the same thing. You just called it something else,
and it costs more. It's 3 times more expensive. The pregnancy ball.
Dad, if he's still listening, would attest to this as well. Like, there's things that are made for boats because my dad lives on a boat, and it's like a boat stove, and it's the same. I mean, it's presumably converted for the whatever it is, 12 volt to run on 12 volt or whatever. But it's like it costs an insane amount of money.
You don't know how buoyant it is, Duncan. Don't be so arrogant.
It's like, float.
It might. You don't know.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's
so there you go.
Fucking dumb. Well, there you go. Well, at 101 viewers, we've been above 100 all night. That's great. We're gonna. Some people are just gonna leave now to spite me.
97 now. 96.
We update the credit roll monthly, following Duncan's advice to stop me going insane. So, if you are a patron, your name will be in lights shortly. If you've joined just recently, it won't. But as of next week, it will, because I'll be updating this as of the 1st. So, it's been a fun stream, man.
Yeah,
this is what
absolutely.
I for the sake of my sanity, I'm going to count our streams soon and see how many we've done. I will count the streams and see where we're at.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it. All right, thank you guys. This has been brilliant. Thank you so much. We're going to smash the credits. Duncan, say your piece if you have any piece to say.
No, just thank you everyone for coming along and making it fun. And we had a really great time. And this is really, really, we really enjoy doing these. So thank you for being a big part of it. So it looks like my dad has just created a YouTube account just so that he can say spot on.
Hey, Philip.
So there you go.
Thank
so
you.
He's in the room.
I look forward very much to meeting you, Philip, one day. It's really lovely that you've come along and supported us.
Yeah.
Casey the senior, I look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll do beers at some point. We will. All right. That's me.
Laters.
Cheers.